Hey, how's the sickie, eh? I brought you a special present.
What is it?
Open it up.
A podcast.
That's right. When I was your age, television was called podcasts. And this is a special podcast. It was the podcast my father used to play for me when I was sick, and I used to play it for your father. And today I'm going to play it for you.
Has it got any dipshittery in it?
Are you kidding? Dick jokes, two white guys talking about movies, bad impressions, forced unfunny bits.
Doesn't sound too bad. I'll try to stay awake.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Very nice of you. Your vote of confidence is overwhelming. The Princess Bride, on the greatest movie ever made.
Hello! My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Stop saying that!
Podcasts. Podcasts are what brings us together today.
Podcasts. That blessed sound file.
That dream within an RSS feed.
I think from 1987 when this film was released, right? 87? Let me double check the year in ET's research. Make sure I'm getting that right. Yeah, 87. From 1987, the year of this film's release, to the heat death of the universe, I think marriage will be funny forever.
Yeah, I'll also say it along with the movie every time I watch it.
Have you the wing? God damn, that joke is funny. It's just, seeing him like costumed all like prestigious, like he looks incredible. He's got those crazy chops, and then he opens his mouth and that voice comes out. It just like, I think comedy peaked in 1987. I think it's all been downhill from here.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about the comedy in this movie, how funny this movie is. But, that's some early some early indication of my thoughts about this, how funny this movie is. Yes.
Welcome to the greatest movie ever made, the show where we watch a movie and tell you if it's the greatest movie ever made.
As you wish.
I'm David Scandera, joined as always by my co-host and I should have thought of a thing. There's so many things I could say.
One of Wesley's insults on Humperdinck at the end, but I don't remember all of them. They always just kind of wash over me, and I'm just gleeful the entire time.
The Queen of Filth, the Queen of Putrescence, Justus Burkett,
slime muck. Man, another performance in this movie that will never not be perfect.
That fucking bog witch is one of the greatest haters of all time.
We're gonna talk about it because David, we are here to talk about potentially the greatest of all Justus Burkett childhood classics. Perhaps the text of Justus Burkett childhood classics. I don't think there is a movie that defined my young life more than Rob Reiner's The Princess Bride. So my relationship to this movie is quite strong, which we will,
Yeah, I think you could do a lot worse for a childhood classic.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, talk about like I went back to Lady Hawk, I went back to Willow, and I was sort of like, watching these with adult eyes, I can sort of view some of these things differently and evaluate them differently. Potential spoilers for like my overall feelings on the movie, but rewatching The Princess Bride, I was like, I am 9 years old again. Life is beautiful. Everything in this movie is fucking unimpeachable perfection. Yeah. Oh man, The Princess Bride. This is one of those where it's like,
yeah, you really picked a tough one to talk about, because what can you say about a movie that, like, I would say comparable only to something like Pulp Fiction or Goodfellas, every line of this screenplay has been filtered through pop culture so many times. It's completely iconic.
Yes.
Like, what is there new to say about The Princess Bride?
We talked about how we're probably never going to do Monty Python and the Holy Grail for that reason, because it would just be us on mic quoting every line from the movie. And we're going to try not to do that today. We're going to try as much as possible to not be like, and then this is the scene where Wallace Shawn goes, "Never going against a Thethelian when death is on the line."
That performance is like 75% tongue and spit.
And you know what the other 25% is? His neck veins. He looks like his head is a cherry tomato that is about to pop.
That line is so funny because it's like the movie is asking us to buy that Wallace Shawn is Sicilian when I'm like, this is the most Jewish New York man that has ever existed.
Until we see Miracle Max.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, you understand when you hear Wallace Shawn deliver the line, "Never go in against a Sicilian when death is on the line," why apparently Wallace Shawn was like pathologically paranoid that he was going to be fired at any second and replaced by Danny DeVito. Which is apparently a real thing. Apparently Wallace Shawn was terrified the entire production of this movie that at any moment the call was going to come in and it was going to be like, that we're dropping you, Wallace, or they're bringing in Danny.
There's something about
Danny DeVito is like Wallace Shawn's boogeyman. Apparently.
No. I think this is what it is. I think I think Danny DeVito's doppelganger is the guy from Total Recall who's like, "You blabbed, Quaid, you blabbed about Mars." And Wallace Shawn's doppelganger is Rick Moranis.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what it is.
I can see that. Although Rick Moranis a little bit more of like a skinny pasty dweeb, whereas Wallace Shawn is shaped like a bowling ball.
but both guys that just aren't in movies anymore. We used to have that type of guy in a movie.
I love seeing Wallace Shawn in a movie. I love seeing Wallace Shawn. What a delightful man. I still need to watch My Dinner with Andre, and I've thought about it many, many times throughout my life because I'm like,
me too.
I want to watch Wallace Shawn talk for a while.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Anyway, before we get further into Wallace Shawn and Rob Reiner's The Princess Bride, how are you today, David?
I'm good.
Good.
Busy, which because you are just as busy than me,
That's
if not
the theme
more
of the
so.
Summer of 2025. It is busy boy summer.
Yeah, we're doing 2 shows at once.
Yeah.
And not enough time to sleep. Although today, since I was graciously let out of rehearsal early,
You're welcome.
I did take a nap.
Yeah.
Thank you, director boy.
You're welcome. Director boy. That's me.
It's I came up with it. The tone of it is like that.
Wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy?
Wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy? One
Yeah.
of the fucking funniest things that anyone's ever said. I'm good. As far as media recommendations, I have a couple things. I don't know if it's a recommendation. It's just I've been watching this. I've been rewatching Game of Thrones because we're doing King Lear.
Yeah.
And I read King Lear, and I was like, oh.
Game of Thrones stole from this.
Just stole everything it has from King Lear.
Right.
Which I'm sure is true of many things. King
Yeah.
Lear is one of the
It's a seminal
pillars
text,
of,
as they say.
Yeah.
The word seminal's funny.
Because it sounds
sounds like
in
semen.
it.
Yeah.
I've been rewatching season 1 of Game of Thrones, and I just want to say, we didn't know how good we fucking had it.
Yeah.
With that.
Those early seasons are great.
I think seasons 1 through 4 are perfect as close to perfect television as we've got. And the subsequent seasons I think are all still varying degrees of good and great, or even fantastic. I liked that final season when it came out.
Wow, bold take. I never watched it, so I can't weigh in on this, but I understand that's a controversial opinion.
I could tell that they rushed things and they didn't quite develop things enough. It was clearly that the patience and the methodical nature of the scripts and the writing process of the early seasons was just gone.
Yeah.
And they were going for spectacle. But I liked it at the time. I don't know how it would feel coming back to it.
Guess you might find out if you keep up with this
yeah,
rewatch.
we'll keep up. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I just needed something else to like.
Yeah.
Get my mind think about King Lear and while I'm in a way that's not me looking at my script all the time and like just I don't know. It's just like
you're immersing yourself in sort of the vibe.
Yeah.
The aesthetic of it all.
Yeah, which I did last year for Caesar,
Right.
but that was more so like character research and thinking about things for my character.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been enjoying that. Wow, I can't talk today.
That's fine.
And also, I would like to recommend the new album from Arizona-based stoner doom metal band Goya, In the Dawn of November, available now on Blues Funeral Recordings.
When did that come out?
It came out just earlier this month, I think, like a week or so ago.
Okay, yeah, I haven't listened to it yet. I wasn't even aware that it had dropped yet, but I listened to the single from it.
Yeah,
the eponymous single. What's the word for when it's the same name?
title track.
Yeah, sure, that thing.
But eponymous works, I think. In that
I
context.
don't know. Fucking the song In the Dawn of November. I listened to. Yeah. So I'll have to give the whole album a listen.
Yeah,
I didn't realize it was out.
It's really good.
Hell yeah.
And they're getting a little bit more attention off of it than like the there's a YouTube channel out of Canada called Banger TV that is founded by Sam Dunn, who did Metal: A Headbanger's Journey, which is a famous documentary. Like they reviewed it, so it's like it's nice to see them kind of spreading their reach beyond their local scene.
Yeah, always cool when local bands like kind of get some mainstream attention. That's always nice. Or I mean, as mainstream as it gets in stoner metal, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
But like Blues Funeral's a pretty big deal in terms of doom metal and heavy psych record labels. So like it's good to see them take off because I think they're fantastic.
Yeah,
and
great band.
A really good, best kept secret in doom metal right now. So
yeah,
check that out. How are you doing?
We talked about this a little bit off mic. I'm not great today, and it's okay because as we have established on this podcast, it's okay to not be okay. Nobody is okay all the time, right? So like, it's fine. But yeah, I'm not great. Just like I talked to you about this off mic, but the main thing that's ailing me is just, sometimes when you, the editorial you, when anyone messes something up and then other people get mad that the thing got messed up, that doesn't feel great for the person who messed up, and it feels even less great because it feels like you don't deserve to pity yourself about it, right? It's like, well, I feel like I'm feeling sorry for myself because people are mad at me that I messed something up. But it's like at the same time, I'm like, well, now I'm mad at myself for being mad at myself because I don't need to like wallow in self-pity because really the person who should be upset about this is the person who was inconvenienced, not the person who caused the inconvenience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love those perpetual cycles of blame and guilt.
Yeah, it's a great thing that my brain just does to me all the time and makes me feel like fucking garbage. So dealing with a little bit of that this week. Nothing catastrophic has happened. Just, sometimes when I am not perfect, I beat myself up a lot about that. And it's a thing that I'm talking to my therapist about. But overall, other than that, I'm fine. I just have not had an awesome 48 hours. But that is neither here nor there because watching today's film made me feel a lot better. The Princess Bride came to me at the right time this week. Before we get to that, though, I do have a media recommendation. You already know what my media recommendation is. I subjected you to it in the car on a drive back from one of our shows this week.
Twice
in a row.
Twice in a row, yeah.
Yes, you and past guest Audrey Young listened to the album Willow by the band Sloppy Jane. The album Willow from 2018 by Sloppy Jane. And yeah, you listen to it twice in a row because it's fucking fantastic. It's a really, really, really excellent album, and I'm sort of pissed off that it took me 7 years of this thing being out in the world for me to finally listen to it, because I had been aware of Sloppy Jane because of their association with Phoebe Bridgers and a few other artists that I am into, but had never actually listened to any of their albums. And I sat down and listened to their discography earlier this week. Really latched onto Willow immediately. Their other LP, Madison, is really good, and their EP from 2015 is also pretty good, but Willow is really the thing that hit me hard. It's fucking really good shit if you like art rock or punk music or weird freaks making weird noises into a microphone or evil women railing against God and the systems that oppress them. You will like Willow by Sloppy Jane. With that, let's talk about fucking Princess Bride, dog.
Yes. Let's talk about it. That's why we have a podcast.
That is why we have a podcast. Not
1980s...
just to talk about fucking stoner metal and Game of Thrones.
1987's Princess Bride, directed by Rob Reiner. His fourth film, based upon a book written by William Goldman.
Yes.
I always get him confused with the Lord of the Flies guy, but that's William Golding.
Yes. And then there's also the composer Jerry Goldsmith, right?
Yeah, but I don't get him confused with those guys because his name's different.
Well, William Golding is also different than William Goldman. Fuck.
But there's more letters that are different in Jerry Goldsmith.
You know, you're right, but I don't want to take criticism right now. Yes, based upon the book by William Goldman.
Yes, and he
Yes.
wrote the screenplay.
He did write the screenplay.
It
He was...
is apparently very close to his original book.
Yes. My older brother has read the book. I never read the book.
My younger brother recently read it. Yeah.
Wow. But you've never read it.
I've never read
And
it.
I've never read it.
Yeah.
Well, our brothers should get on a podcast and talk about the book.
Yeah. I remember him saying it was weird.
Yeah, that's what I remember my older brother saying. He was basically like, the movie is like a condensed version of the book and like keeps all the best stuff and kind of gets rid of like the filler stuff is sort of my brother's take on it.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense because this movie fucking whips by at 98 minutes.
The pace of this movie, I think this is one of the best paced movies ever made. I think the economy of storytelling in The Princess Bride, it is wild that by minute 14, we are at the cliffs of insanity. Like, it moves so fucking fast, but it never feels rushed. It always feels like it's moving at the right pace.
Yeah.
But it just like, man, this thing fucking, it's like a Japanese bullet train, this thing, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think it ever sacrifices its runtime for developing its characters and their relationships.
Yeah.
Like, Wesley and Buttercup fall in love via Peter Falk voiceover in the first 5 minutes of the movie, and their relationship is never in question. You never don't buy it. It's the thing holding the movie together.
Yeah, I think one of the things that makes the economy of storytelling in this movie work so well is like we're dealing in archetypes selectively and very intelligently, right? So it's like, yeah, like the whole farm boy, rich girl falling in love thing at the top works incredibly well for an audience because basically from the second you see how they are costumed, you understand what's going on here.
Yeah.
And like how the close-ups of them are shot. And of course the performances of the actors, but like everything is in service of being like, we're setting up this archetype in 2 shots so that you understand exactly who this person is and what their relationship is to this other person so that we can move on and not waste any words or screen time on it. And it's like, it is done better here than I think I've maybe ever seen it done in another movie, where it's just like, oh yeah, this is the couple that's in love, and we're gonna like get you fully invested in their relationship in like less than 90 seconds.
Yeah. So what's your relationship with this movie? Because this is, as you said, the the God Emperor of
Yes.
the Justus Burkett childhood classic.
The cornerstone, of Justus Burkett childhood classics. I grew up watching this movie. This is one of those movies where I can't remember the first time I saw The Princess Bride, because I think the first time I saw The Princess Bride, I was so young that I no longer have any memories of that phase of my life. You know what I'm saying? My earliest memory is probably when I was about like 4 or 5. I think I probably saw this movie earlier than that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was raised on it. I saw this movie. I have seen this movie so many times that when I sat down to watch it for the podcast today, not only is it like I remember every single scene, I was like, oh, I think I remember every word of this movie. I think I remember, like, as the scenes were playing out, I was like, yeah, I have a deep history and a very personal connection with almost every single line of dialogue that leaves everyone's mouth in this movie. So I can't be objective on this episode. Let's just throw that out the window right now. But yeah, I grew up watching this movie. It's probably been a good at least 10 years since the last time I watched it, like it has been for a lot of other Justice Burke childhood classics. Even though it was so important to me when I was young, it's just not one that I went back to with that much frequency. I think I'm gonna remedy that. I think this is gonna be like an every few years thing for me, because going back to it today was such a delight. But yeah, I feel like I in many ways I feel like I would not be the wife guy I am today without The Princess Bride. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this wired my brain when I was young, to be into like theater and be very into monogamy. Believe in true love, also be a little bit of like a dark humor kind of horror aficionado guy, because that shit is definitely in here a little bit. I feel like all the seeds for the man I would become just are in this movie,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
What's your relationship with The Princess Bride?
So I don't have a strong childhood association with this one outside of in high school I had a drama teacher who often, it was like 6th-hour drama class. So it was the end of the day. And often she would just let us do whatever we wanted, as I'm sure is probably common for a lot of high school drama teachers.
Yeah, just being like, I don't fucking know. Like, you don't want to be here. I don't want you here. Just fucking do whatever you want.
So this was on a lot. She put this on a lot, and this is where I first saw this.
Very drama teacher pick to put this on.
This and Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
I think I have seen both of those movies most in 45-minute chunks and 6-hour drama class. 6-hour drama class in high school.
In high school, rather. Yeah. I will say, big drama teacher pick this movie. Also, I am the son of a drama teacher.
Sure.
So that maybe explains why I was raised on this so much.
Yeah. And I've seen it over the years, probably every few years or so. I actually just watched it last year, most recently. And the lovely, wonderful thing about this movie is I remember so much of it, and I can quote so much of it from memory, and so much of this movie is just burned into my brain with how many times I've seen it and watched it with friends. But there's always that 10%, 15% that I don't remember,
right?
And that surprises me, and with new viewings, like there's always something new to discover with this movie.
Yeah.
Some of it is Andre the Giant's fucking incomprehensible dialogue. Occasionally be like, oh, I finally understood that line.
I am the Dread Pirate Roberts. There will be no survivor.
The only thing crazier than the fact that man looks like that is that he sounds like that. He sounds like a YouTube video playing at 25% speed.
He's very, very short on charm. Oh, God. I love hearing him talk.
But I have very strong feelings about this movie, probably similar to something like Lord of the Rings, where it's like, if you don't like this movie,
die.
I don't want to associate myself with you. I don't want to know what kind of boring, depressing, depraved existence you're living, that you don't get a shred of joy from watching The Princess Bride.
Yeah.
I think, to tip my hand on this movie, this is one of those movies that I would classify as undeniable.
It is. I was thinking this after finishing this movie today. I think there is a very real argument that The Princess Bride is the most entertaining movie ever made.
It sort of does everything.
Yes. Yes.
Like, it has something for everyone. It has the humor. It has the clever jokes and the clever turns of phrase. It has romance. and adventure and revenge and some of that, like those darker elements.
Right. It's also got the shrieking eels and
you
shit.
know,
Yeah.
like it's one of those movies that works, no matter what age you are.
Yes. Yeah. Undeniable is a great word. Yeah. I kind of think that this is like, it is sort of in some ways, kind of the pinnacle of like 80s filmmaking in some ways, that it's like in 1987, we're at a time where movies are getting bigger and better, right? And we have gone from our first blockbuster in the 70s with Jaws, right, to the point now where we're like, we have, Indiana Jones has come out, Star Wars has multiple Star Wars have come out, right? The blockbuster is like fully established, and bigger and better movies are kind of the flavor of the week in Hollywood. And this feels like a movie that is kind of like taking all of the best bits of what makes a big, great movie, and like just using them expertly as like spices throughout, right? Which is funny because this movie wasn't like a huge success. It was a modest hit.
Yeah.
And part of that is that Fox didn't market this movie at all, which feels fucking insane to me. Like, how do you have this movie in your back pocket and you're like, yeah, we'll just kind of shit this out without like putting any trailers out or anything? Like, what the fuck?
Well, because the other thing about it is like it is so quaint. It's packaging all of those elements in like a smaller, kind of cute little movie.
Yes, because it's also camp.
But yeah, because it's camp and it's dealing with archetypes and stories that have been told for generations. And it's also coming sort of at the tail end of the fantasy kid power thing that was going on in the 80s.
Right.
And there's an element of like the kid power thing in this with like Fred Savage's character, the grandson. But it is so much more than that. And like, I don't know, there's the camp here is different than the camp in like a Labyrinth or Never Ending Story. There's something so earnest and genuine about this movie.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that those movies aren't, but like it makes this movie immediately timeless.
Yes. The sincerity here you can feel through the screen. And I think like when we're talking about how earnest and sincere this movie is, I think it is worth pointing out that like some of E.T.'s research like backs that up with like facts. Like William Goldman was terrified to have this story adapted to screen because it was so beloved to him. He was like really afraid of doing a disservice to this story because it was his favorite thing that he had ever wrote. And there's a great anecdote that E.T. put in the research that during the first take of the first scene when they were shooting this movie, the one of the sound guys was like hearing some like noise that sounded like chanting under the actor's dialogue. And they found out that it was because William Goldman was like hidden on set praying during the first shot of the first take of this movie, because he wanted it to go well so bad. There was so much passion in him for this project, right? And you can feel that. You feel the sincerity and the earnestness from Goldman's contributions. You feel it from Mandy Patinkin's contributions.
Oh yeah.
Mandy Patinkin, who studied fencing for 8 to 10 hours a day for 3 months in order to do what he does in this movie. It's like you feel how personal and how like impassioned these actors are about the art that they're making.
Well, and they all got along. Seems like they all had a great time and would go out to dinner together. And, everyone talks about meeting Andre the Giant for the first time and what that was like.
And him drinking liquor out of a fucking beer stein and passing out on top of people. So they had to have like a security detail following him while he drank.
Mandy Patinkin talks about going to the screening of The Rough Cut and starting to cry like halfway through this movie because he never thought that he would have the chance to be in a movie like this. And he still talks because he loves talking about being in The Princess Bride.
As he should.
He's still like, I can't believe I was in that.
You know what? I can't fucking believe Mandy Patinkin in this movie either.
Yeah.
You know? Like, right? Yeah.
I'm going to just get this out of the way. You got a cry count for this one?
I do. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think a thing that'll be fun about this one is you guess how many times I cried, which is how we normally do the cry count. But I also want you to try and figure out when I cried in this movie, because the answers may surprise you.
You know, I have a cry count for this one.
Oh, wow.
And the answers may surprise you too.
Wow, okay.
Should we just guess
Yeah.
the number?
Yes.
Okay. Studying you.
Like a poker player right now. He's looking at my face trying to read, tells or something. How many times do I think this man cried today?
I'm going to guess 3.
Okay. All right. Solid guess. I'm going to guess, I think you maybe cried more than me. I don't know why, but I have a gut feeling that you cried more times than me. So I'm going to guess 4.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Emotional film. Also, one that you might cry laughing at. For example, in this first scene when Peter Falk comes in and is like, "Oh, hey, let me read you this little book here. Most Chicago child who has ever lived." Fred Savage in his little Bears jersey.
Yeah.
With the Bears flag above.
I forgot
or the Cubs flag above the bed.
I forgot this was a secret Christmas movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because based on the backdrops of the neighborhood outside, or what at least look like backdrops on my premium, crisp, standard def DVD
format of the gods.
They have Christmas lights around the houses, and then the wrapping paper that the book is in is Santa wrapping paper. And also, the horrifying, crusty, evil Santa decoration on Fred Savage's closet that is just looming over Peter Falk's shoulder.
Yeah, that's
like a slasher villain in this movie.
That shit's like the Babadook or something. When the lights go out, that shit's coming to life. I don't like it. The framing device with Fred Savage. We already sort of you alluded to the fact that maybe this kind of works for you, right?
I think it's essential to the movie, and if you took it out, the movie would be fundamentally worse.
I agree. This was the part of the movie that I was most interested in going back to after so long away from it, right? Is being like, does the Peter Falk and Fred Savage stuff work, or is Fred Savage annoying? Fred Savage is not annoying. Fred Savage is adorable. This is a great kid performance.
Yeah.
I love, love, love this child performance. Also, Peter Falk can do no wrong. We are once again getting Falked up on this podcast. 3-peat for Falk now.
Yeah.
He's joining the prestige club of Nicole Kidman and whoever else. Ted Raimi is in there.
Sure. Do we have a 4? Anyone who's done 4 yet?
I don't know if we have a 4-peat. We'll have to look at it. But yes, Peter Falk now making his 3rd appearance after Mikey and Nikki and the Great Muppet Caper. The Great Muppet Caper, which also shares one other thing with this movie, which is a stunt coordinator. But yeah, I mean, Peter Falk sitting down next to your bed when you're sick and being like, "I'm gonna tell you a story." It's like fucking, my heart melts as soon as he walks into this movie.
Yeah. I don't think we need to continue to cut back to this and talk about it throughout the podcast, but overall, this works so well as a fun way to break up the story and play on the audience's interest, because Fred Savage's character is the audience surrogate at this point. And this movie, in so many ways, beyond just the Peter Falk stuff, is about the nature of storytelling and why we love stories and what stories do for us.
Yeah.
And that goes down to the story of how Wesley became the Dread Pirate Roberts.
Yes.
And some of the little like bits of world building
And
that we get
the story
here.
that Inigo tells about
Yeah.
his father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the great parts of this movie are just one character sitting down and telling a story to the other person.
Yeah. That is a very profound observation that I had not had about this movie.
And that's one of the things that I love about. I mean, that's one of my favorite things that a story can do is like comment on storytelling, comment on legend and myth. And also I think like Fred Savage's character is like, I don't want to read a fucking gay ass kissing book for girls.
Is this a kissing book?
I want a book with sports.
Right.
And which, of course, I want a book with tits and guns and explosions coming. So I'm a man.
Well, Fred Savage is a little young for the tits and guns thing. He'll get there in a few years.
But it is kind of a, I don't know. Like I think there's a degree of commentary on like masculinity and how we raise our children and how we raise boys.
I think so too. And you know I severely fuck with that in a movie. Yes.
Yeah.
I really think so too. And I think that it is no accident that I, a man who is like kind of relentlessly questioning and investigating and deconstructing my own masculinity, was raised on this movie. You know? Like I think it's all in here.
Yeah. And I think Peter Falk's he's just got this twinkle in his eye.
God.
I don't know which eye it is, if it's the glass one or the regular one, but one of those eyes has a twinkle in it.
Well, the glass one probably twinkles a little bit more on account of the materials. But
he's even with the old age makeup, like he looks good in the old age makeup. It's
light makeup in the movie because they had him in like full prosthetics because he was like, oh, I need to look older, I'm not that old, and then they put him in prosthetics and he was like, I look like a corpse.
Yeah. But his performance too, there's just something, he's playing it older, he's playing someone who's like wise and has lived long enough and has stories in him, and can also bust your balls if he wants to. And I think Fred Savage is great too. Every time when he starts letting through that like he might actually be invested in the story, every time it's so cute.
It's so sweet. It's so sweet when he's like, no, you can read to me a little bit more, and it's like, oh my god, like this kid is like fucking breaking my heart right now in a good way, you know.
Or when he's like no, that's not how that happens.
Yeah.
Wes, who kills Humperdinck? She doesn't get together with Humperdinck. It's like, and of course at the end where he's like, well, you could read the kissing part if you want.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all such good stuff. It is such good stuff. And I also think like Fred Savage, as a child actor here, is doing he's doing the thing that so many 80s kid power movies try to do and sort of fail at in one way or the other, right? Which is like the magic tightrope that this performance walks and that this script walks with this character is that he has to be an audience surrogate for the young audience watching this movie without being annoying to the adults watching the movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like most 80s kid power movies end up on one or the other side of that line.
Sure.
Right? Where it's like, oh, the kid's like, maybe like not as annoying to the adults in this one, but the kids can't relate to him as much because their character isn't as like well fleshed out, right? Or like the other side, which I feel like is more common, where it's like the kids can relate to them, but the adults find them grating, right? And it's like he is doing it, the way that he's directed and the way that he's written, and I don't want to discount Fred Savage as like an actual child actor here because I think he's doing great work. All of it works so well where he walks that tightrope immaculately.
Well, and it's more than just not being annoying for the adults. He has to make the adults relate to him, and you have to feel like you're Fred Savage while watching this movie, no matter how old you are.
Yes, this is a movie that makes you feel like a kid while you're watching it, which is like a feeling that I feel like I've only recently felt watching like Miyazaki films. And then to get it again while watching The Princess Bride, a movie from my actual childhood, is like so delightful and rewarding.
Yeah. And just the fact that he's sick, and it never, like his has a cold or something. He's never really playing that he's sick, but we know that's the framing device for the movie and why Grandpa comes
title
over.
The title card comes up, and the first thing you hear is Fred Savage's little cough.
Yeah. But just that fact that he's sick, it sort of reminds you of like stories as comfort and how they can bring you comfort in tough times, you know, big or small, from, you know, experiencing great loss and tragedy down to just like, yeah, you're just sick today and you want to watch a movie to feel better.
Yeah.
Or read a book to feel, you know, whatever it is. And also that stories bring us together and make us closer to each other.
Yeah.
And we can move on to the rest of the movie now, but yeah, I think everything comes together so beautifully in this framing device. That yeah, the movie, it's I'm so glad this is here in the movie. I actually don't know. I'm sure I asked my brother this when he was reading the book. I don't know if this comes from the book or not.
I don't remember either if I learned that or not. But yeah.
But,
either way, it's a great choice in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a movie that we're probably not going to get into like the plot of, because most people know how The Princess Bride goes. But the way that we usually approach these things is roughly linearly. So like the first thing is like you're introduced to Buttercup and Wesley's relationship. We already talked about that a little bit. I do think in addition to all of the stuff that I talked about with the costume design and the cinematography in this early section. Oh, by the way, while I'm mentioning the costume design, I do have to call out the costume designer for this film because she just passed away this year. So I would like to honor the late great Phyllis Dalton, who worked on this movie, who worked on Lawrence of Arabia and Dr. Zhivago, among many others. Right. This I think is a peak example of the power of costume design in film. I think the costume design in this movie is similar to the framing device with Fred Savage and Peter Falk. I think without this costume design, the movie doesn't work. I think it is crucial to the success of this film.
Yeah. I think it walks a fine line between like what you would expect from a medieval or fantasy film of this budget and like Renaissance fair costumes.
Yes. And in a way, in a way that matches the tone of the film perfectly.
Yes, it's cute and it's quaint.
Yes. It's so clear that Phyllis Dalton was like totally plugged into like the creative vision of this project, and she executed it perfectly. And like, man, R.I.P. We lost her this year, and that's very sad. But yeah, so like in addition to like all that stuff working in their favor in the beginning of this movie to set up Buttercup and Wesley's relationship, it also helps that Robin Wright and Cary Elwes are the two hottest people who have ever walked the face of the planet.
Yes, and they look like they want to fuck the shit out of each other.
Yeah, and it's like, you get it, because you're like, wow, these people are hot.
The scene where she's like, farm boy, fetch me that picture, and it's right like above her head, and he walks across the room.
Yeah.
I don't know that we've covered a scene of just pure palpable, dripping, wet, hot sexual tension like that since
Crash.
Like, no, I was thinking the hand flexing scene in Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah. Two different
vibes.
Yeah.
Two different vibes.
Yeah.
Pride and Prejudice and Crash.
Though Wesley has a little bit of a Dom thing later on when he's like talking to her when he's still the Dread Pirate Roberts, and he's like, I'm gonna hit you if you say that again, and he doesn't. There's like a little bit of like, that's kind of kinky.
That black mask on.
Yeah. Just saying, Wesley might be a little bit of a daddy Dom. Buttercup might be like, put the mask on tonight. I'm gonna call you Dread Pirate Roberts tonight.
When he's doing the To the Pain monologue.
Yeah.
And
To the Pain.
Robin Wright's probably like, yeah, can you do that to me, but like in a horny way?
Yeah, tell me what you're gonna do to me. Yeah.
Also, Robin Wright and Cary Elwes both are fantastic in this movie.
That's right.
And forever have like a special place in my heart because of this movie, no matter what they're in. I don't know that there's an actor that has garnered so much goodwill off of one performance than Cary Elwes.
We have talked about this off mic. Cary Elwes, an actor who is fantastic in this movie, and in almost every other movie I've ever seen him in is fairly bad.
He's good in like Robin Hood Men in Tights. He's quite charming. He's sort of
doing this.
yes,
again.
yes. He's clearly playing off of the Wesley persona. But you get to Saw or Stranger Things season 3, where he's there for some reason, and I'm like, this guy's terrible, and I love him, and I will protect him forever. And I will always be happy to see him in a movie because of The Princess Bride.
In the Amy Sherman Palladino show, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, he plays a bad actor. Like his character is like a guy who is like the king of Broadway, but he's actually like a huge hack and a ham. And that performance works really well because he's just doing his thing. And I'm like, okay, so Amy Sherman Palladino was like, yeah, I have to cast a bad actor. Let me see if anyone has Cary's number. Which is not to in any way defame Cary Elwes, a man who seems truly delightful.
Yeah.
Yes. He just he has a specific mode, and sometimes it works, like in this, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, I think often he's just poorly cast in things.
I agree.
I don't feel that way about Robin Wright. I feel like Robin Wright consistently floors me.
I think she only got better after this.
And even Forrest Gump, where she plays the most unlikable character in history, Jenna. Even then, I'm still like, you know what? Yeah, I kind of get it, Forrest. I kind of get it why you gave your heart and soul to this woman who used you like a toy and a dish rag for your entire life because she looks like Robin fucking Wright.
Yeah, I mean, poor little Tom Hanks never stood a chance. Anyway, this is not the Forrest Gump episode. On that episode, I'm going to be making like wet fart sounds the entire time. That movie sucks.
I have a complicated relationship with that movie.
We'll talk about it later. Anyway, they're in love. True love. Which is really sort of the ethos of this movie. True love exists, and it is the most powerful force in the universe.
And we have reached my first cry of the movie, which is the sunset shot of them of kissing.
With the it's the same tune that the outro song is. It's the da 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 da. Da 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 da. Yeah. Oh God. It's so fucking good. This movie is incredibly well shot. It was shot by Adrian Biddle, known for previous episodes Aliens and Willow. The man who shot both of those movies also shot this movie, which is a strangely coherent but also wild run on this podcast.
Yeah. and this one I would say is surprisingly well shot for me because I forget how well shot this is.
You do. Like, you remember the dialogue, you remember the characters and the performances. And even some of the aesthetics that come from the production design and the costume design.
Yeah.
You forget how almost every single frame of this thing is composed immaculately.
Yeah, and occasionally it'll just drop something on you that looks incredibly stunning.
Yeah. Some of the close-ups in this early part, where it's just the close-ups of Robin Wright and Cary Elwes, it is like, the actors are so well placed in the frame. Everything is lit so well. The color is so rich. It's just it's so gorgeous to look at. And the sunset shot had me making those noises because it's like a prime example of that. It's like such good cinematography.
Did you cry there?
I did not.
Okay.
I told you you'd be surprised.
Okay. Well, I'm surprised that I started crying in the first 5 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've seen the movie. He does everything she asks because he loves her.
He says, "As you wish," which really is him saying, "I love you."
Yeah, and they have a budding romance, but she gets married to Prince. She gets betrothed to Prince Humperdinck.
Yes, and he has to go away on a voyage. He has to go
Yes.
away on a ship, and then his ship gets attacked by the Dread Pirate Roberts, and she thinks he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I am crying for the second time
Wow.
at the shot of her riding her horse down from the castle.
Yes.
Across the river and like into a field.
Gorgeous shot.
That's my second cry of the movie, is that shot. And for no other reason than I was just like, that's so fucking gorgeous and beautiful.
Yes. She rides right up to Wallace Shawn, Andre the Giant, and Mandy Patinkin. We are but poor lost circus performers. They knock her out and kidnap her and take her on a ship. Because basically, like, Wallace Shawn has been hired to start a war between Florin and Gilder. Florin is the nation that all the action takes place in, and Gilder is like the unseen other country. And so their plan is to like kill her, dump her body, and make it look like the Gildarians did it.
Yeah, and it's a minor reveal later that Prince Humperdinck hired him, and he's going to orchestrate it.
In addition to being just an overall piece of shit, also a warmonger. Yeah. So this is where we get the shrieking eels. Because like she is on the boat with them and then she jumps overboard. Wesley's ship is like following them. And then she's in the water. And the sound design on the eel shrieks is also something that just like has lived dormant in my brain for a decade. It's also great that They take their time with the shrieking eels moment. It's not like she falls in the water and the eel immediately pops up. She's like splashing around in the water for a little bit there, and Wallace Shawn has all the dialogue about how like the shrieks always grow louder when they're about to feed on human flesh. And it is like one of a couple moments in this movie where it's like we go a little bit. It's still a family-friendly movie. It's still a kid-friendly PG movie. We go a little bit into scary territory.
The movie is occasionally metal as fuck.
Yes. The shrieking eels are the first time that happens.
Yeah. And I think part of it is like the effects, these puppets that they made for the shrieking eels.
Yes.
Look really fucking good.
They look all of the effects in this movie, I think, look incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the RRUSs later, they look good, but they're pretty clearly like a man in a suit, and
Yeah.
they're sort of ratty and crusty looking, and then but then the shrieking eels look like moving through the water. They look very realistic.
Yeah, and like the mouth opens and there's like so many razor sharp teeth. It's awesome. And I also love like when Fred Savage pauses here and then we go back to the action and then it's Peter Falk's voice over Wallace Shawn going, "Those are the shrieking eels."
Oh yeah, so she falls in the water and the eels come and get her.
Which kind of deflates the scariness of the moment in a way that I feel like is like it's funny if you're a grown-up, and it sort of like relieves some of the scariness if you're a kid.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah, it's really well done.
Yeah, and we've had plenty of time with Inigo and Fezzik and Vizzini at this point. We should just talk about all three of them and their dynamic.
Yes,
it's comedy gold with these three.
Yes, this is maybe. I mean, Inigo and Fezzik are my favorite parts of a movie that consists of lots of things that are wonderful.
Yeah.
Right. The stuff where it's Inigo, Fezzik, and Vizzini all interacting as a group is like some of my favorite stuff in the movie. Like when Inigo and Fezzik are rhyming. Anybody want a peanut?
Yeah.
Like all that shit is like, yeah, it's fucking incredible. Of course. Move that thing, not the other thing.
The only flaw with this movie is that there's not enough Vizzini because he dies in a few minutes. But Wallace Shawn leaves such a great impact on this movie.
He leaves you wanting more.
Because this character is like, he's supposed to be unlikable, but the performance is so funny and so charming, and he has such a great dynamic despite being like pompous and arrogant and loud and angry and stuff, that it's like I still love this guy.
Yes. Yeah. It is. He pulls off that magic trick, right? Where it's like, clearly this guy is the worst. And also, I want to spend so much more time with him.
Yeah. And I love, what does he say to, I think it's Fezzik goes, want to go back to where
Do you want to go back to where I found you?
Unemployed in Greenland.
The way he says Greenland.
And you! When I found you, you were so slobbering drunk, you couldn't buy brandy.
One of the great high-pitched, scratchy voice performances of our time.
I love him so much in this movie. Yeah, so they arrive at the cliffs of insanity.
Because they're being chased by another boat.
Yes.
And it's a man in black.
Yes.
Who's just, it's Wesley. It's
Wesley.
obviously Wesley.
I like the thing that, like, the movie kind of doesn't try to hide from you that it's Wesley. You can tell it's Cary Elwes right away. But at the same time, the mask, there is something about his hair being covered and that little pencil mustache that does make you buy that Robin Wright does not recognize him at all. That Buttercup is like, who the fuck is this guy?
Well, and it's also good that they hold off on really giving you a close-up of him and revealing that it's Wesley until they climb the cliffs of insanity and he's, clinging on to that model somewhere and just being like, you can throw me a rope?
So a few things on this scene.
Yeah.
The matte painting in the background.
Matte paintings are so good.
Oh, okay. Overall, the sets, when we are on a set in this movie, there is like a theatricality to it that is camp, but also a level of detail and artistry that is cinematic. And they marry those things perfectly in a way that I can't think of many other examples for. It's like it is like no other movie has ever had sets like this, is sort of how I feel watching it. The matte paintings are also part of that, right? And then when we're on location, like when Wesley and Buttercup roll down the hill, the locations look fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the Cliffs of Insanity stuff, because the matte painting, the matte painting looks sort of scary and treacherous. So when he shouts, "The Cliffs of Insanity," and we get that synth horn hit, like it makes it more dramatic. And then the wide shots of the stunt performers just climbing a rope up the cliffs of Dover.
Yes. Also, apparently, so Wallace Shawn was in some of the climbing shots on a soundstage.
Yes,
and
because
apparently he was actually terrified during this.
Yeah, because they had to they had him rigged up to Andre the Giant. And
climb faster! I can hear Danny DeVito coming to steal my part.
Well, yeah, he was definitely terrified of heights, and apparently Andre the Giant just like held him, and he was like, "I'll take care of you."
That would make me feel safe.
Being held by Andre the Giant.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Being swaddled like a baby.
God, he is so endearing in this movie.
His hands are the size of trash can lids.
Yes.
And every time he's just like, he's interacting with another character, I'm like, Jesus Christ, this man was a giant, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess
was
that's
a giant.
why they called him that.
Big guy. Real big guy.
Holy shit.
So, while we're talking about Andre the Giant, E.T.'s research reminded me of one of the most insane and awesome facts I've ever learned that I had forgotten, and then it was in E.T.'s research, and I was like, oh yeah, which is that when Andre the Giant was 12, he got too big to ride the bus to school in his, like, French town, right? So he was at risk of, like, just being excluded from education because it's like, well, we can't get this kid to school. He doesn't fit on the bus. And he had a neighbor who had a convertible, which was the only car that Andre the Giant could fit into at 12 years old because it didn't have a roof, right? And he was so tall. So this neighbor with a convertible drove him to school every single day. And that neighbor was Irish playwright Samuel Beckett, known for Waiting for Godot, which is fucking... I every time I remember that is a true actual thing that happened on God's green earth, I'm like, the world is beautiful and good, actually. Because Samuel Beckett took 12-year-old Andre the Giant to school in his convertible every day. It makes me so happy knowing that. Anyway.
I
Yeah.
like the story that I found in E.T.'s research where Andre the Giant would prank his friends by moving their car. He could pick up their cars and move them into situations where it was impossible to get out of.
Try to get out of this parallel parking. You can't. I put you too close to the other car.
He doesn't sound that French.
He doesn't.
It's a lot more bassy.
I do also want to say, every single negative epithet we have ever uttered about the French people on this podcast does not apply to Andre the Giant.
I agree 100%.
He is exempt from all of that.
I didn't even know he was French until I looked it up.
Yeah. You couldn't
earlier
tell
today.
based on his French accent.
Sorry, he sounds like
You're right. He does sound like someone pitched his voice down.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I couldn't tell.
Yeah. Fair enough. Mostly his voice sounds like a giant, and then it sounds like French secondary to that.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
We gotta get to one of the best sword fights in movie history.
Cary Elwes and Mandy Patinkin did all of their own sword fighting for this movie. When you know that and you watch this scene and realize that there are no stunt doubles, it is just the two actors that you have seen interact in the scene before this.
I think there's a stunt double for when
For the
Wesley,
jump.
For the jump, yeah.
Yes, but the fencing
Yeah.
is all them. That is wild. Like, movies generally are not made that way. You know? The scene before the sword fight is some of my favorite stuff in the movie, too. When Inigo is yelling down at him while he's climbing the cliff. And he's like, I would throw her up down, but considering I am only waiting around to kill you, you may not trust that I will that you get to the top safely. He's like, isn't there any way you trust me? I give you my word as a Spaniard. I love all that shit so much. No good. I've known too many Spaniards.
Yeah, and of course, when he gets to the top, they sit down and take a break for a while, and he tells them the story of his father.
And Inigo Montoya is the coolest man who has ever lived.
I sort of expected we would be doing this.
Yes.
I feel like if you are a boy and you watch this movie at a certain age, you know, maybe the romance stuff works for you, maybe it doesn't, but you immediately latch on to Inigo Montoya and you make him your personality.
Yeah. You best believe you do, my man. I am still deconstructing my Inigo Montoya complex, I kind of feel like. Being raised on this movie and just being like, oh yeah, that's kind of how I learned what performing masculinity was. Was from Inigo Montoya in The Princess Bride. That's probably why I drink so much.
Because your father was slaughtered by a six-fingered
no,
man?
because he's so fucking
cool. I just saw your dad this weekend.
Because
he seemed fine.
No, he is fine, thankfully. But God forbid a six-fingered man ever slaughter my dad. Then there would be hell to pay. But no, just he's the coolest fucking guy I've ever seen in my entire life. Every single line that Mandy Patinkin delivers in this movie. We've talked about the sincerity in this movie. I think Mandy Patinkin's performance is one of the most sincere performances I have ever seen in a movie. The movie is like wacky and silly and crazy and sometimes a little like, you know, knowingly, like winkingly goofy.
Yeah.
Mandy Patinkin is playing this shit serious the whole time. Even when he's like drunk and goofy, he is playing it like Shakespearean. And I'm like, that is again, one of the most essential things in this movie is that this guy is like, this is dead serious to him. Like, this is his life.
Do you know the story of how Mandy Patinkin related to Inigo Montoya?
I do, but please tell it for our listeners. Yeah.
So his father had passed away from cancer, and his the thing that sort of got him to connect with this role was the revenge element and revenging his father. So every time he says that line, my name is Inigo Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die, that's what he's thinking about. And when he slaughters the six-fingered man at the end, Mandy Patinkin said it was an emotional day for him because it felt like he was truly avenging his father and bringing some of his father's life back into the world.
Yeah, like
And
he was killing the cancer that took his father from him.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think when you know that, it makes an already incredible and deeply layered performance that much more layered.
Him giving this monologue where he's talking about the six-fingered man demanding this sword from his father, who was a swordsmith, and all that stuff, is the first moment that you get to see this character in that light.
Yeah.
And I think every single time it comes back and he puts that, the movie focuses its full attention on him, and he puts all of that personal stuff into this story. It is some of the most transcendent moments of this movie. And also him talking about the six-fingered man demanding the sword, and he gave me this and all that. And he talking about if he ever sees the six-fingered man, he'll say,
Yeah.
I will look at him and say, hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die, is the first time I cried during this movie.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they sword fight.
Then they sword fight.
Oh, before they sword fight, he dumps his boot out and there's a bunch of rocks in it. That's really funny. I like when he dumps his boot out and there's a bunch of huge rocks in it.
And I love the line, "You seem a decent fellow. I hate to kill you."
You seem a decent fellow. I hate to die.
So good.
Yeah.
So the thing about this sword fight is the moves aren't particularly flashy. It's not super choreographed. I think what makes it all work is the fact that these two actors are doing this stuff for real, and it does still look good.
It's still very impressive. Yeah.
But it's the dynamic between the characters and the story that they're telling through the sword fight.
Yeah. You know what else it is? The music.
Yes.
The score in this movie is fucking awesome.
Yes. Composed by Mark Knopfler.
Yeah.
And the like, it's one of those things that could be camp in another movie, but feels earnest and genuine here with the synth horns and the synth strings. And in this scene, the way that the music is synced up to the sword fight, and
in a lot of the movie, the way that the score is synced up to the action makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the sword fight itself, I think, takes on a musical, rhythmic quality to it.
Literally, the clanging of the swords becomes part of the score.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I love that they're both fighting with their left hand. And of course, the iconic moment where he's like, where Inigo's like, I admit that you are better than I am. And Wesley's like, why are you smiling? Because I know something you don't know. I am not left-handed. And then Wesley's not left-handed either, and they both start fighting with the right hand.
Yeah.
Fucking rocks.
And
So
I
good.
love them comparing sword fighting styles.
Yes, unless he studies, he's a gripa, which I have.
We are just going to be saying a lot of lines.
Sorry, listeners. I know I said I wasn't going to do this. I hope you're enjoying me doing a bad Mandy Patinkin impression.
It's hard not to. It's hard not to say the lines. I
It's
guess.
really hard. It's really hard.
And I love the part when he backs him up against like the edge of this ruined castle and the rocks fall over, and I think that's when they.
And that's when Wesley switches.
That's when
his
Wesley
sword.
switches. Yeah. And then they. Oh, God, I love the jump. I love Inigo does a jump onto like this wooden beam and just swings and lands, and then Wesley jumps onto the wooden beam and does a loop and lands. And I love the way Mandy Patinkin just goes, "Who are you?"
Yes.
And it's the mutual respect that they have for each other.
Yes.
Is just it's such an endearing quality of the fight. It's such a great quality of the fight.
This scene to me was making me think two big things in terms of what you were just talking about with the mutual respect that these guys have, the mutual admiration that they have in this scene. Number one, this is a great scene of just like guys being dudes. What a great guys being dudes moment. And also on kind of the flip side of that coin, what a homoerotic scene.
Sure.
It's simultaneously like, oh hell yeah, dudes rock, and also like I think these guys maybe want to fuck each other. Them sword fighting is sort of like a metaphor for I think there's definitely some like energy, some chemistry.
Can
going
I fuck
on.
your ass, Wesley? As you wish.
Ouch. Oh shit. Yeah, some of the dialogue you could keep the same, but just change it to a sexual scenario.
Yeah.
I admit that you are better than I am. Then why are you smiling? I know something you don't know. I am not left-handed.
I am not the bottom.
Just starts doing the reach around with the other.
I
hand.
am a switch.
Hey, you know,
Happy Pride Month,
happy
everybody.
Pride. But I love how this scene ends with Inigo losing the fight and being like, "Kill me quickly."
Yeah.
And Wesley's line, "I would as soon destroy a stained glass window as an artist such as yourself," which is like, what a fucking great compliment to give one of your bros. If you're listening to this and you're like, how should I compliment my bros? Say something like that to your bros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do forget that, like, Mandy Patinkin is just out of the movie really until, like, the third act.
Yeah, he
Like,
makes such a huge impression that you remember him in more of the movie. But
Mhm.
yeah, he's out of here for a while.
Yeah.
He gets bonked on the head and then he's just kind of out of it until he shows up drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like the next scene with Under the Giant because Under the Giant's just fun.
Yeah.
It is probably the least memorable of these three sequences for
Right.
me.
Yeah.
But there is something about just Andre the Giant palming these fake rocks like they're a basketball.
Yeah.
And he chucks one at Wesley's head.
Yes, he misses on purpose because he wants to fight him fair, right?
You put down your rock and I'll put down my sword and we'll try and kill each other like civilized people.
Yes. It was in a contest of strength. I think you may have an advantage, or whatever he says. But yeah, then they wrestle. I like when Wesley's on his back and Fezzik is just slamming his back against the rock. And Cary Elwes' performance in that is so good. Where he's like, why should that make such a difference? And I also like because Wesley's like choking him out until Fezzik loses consciousness. And I like Andre the Giant just keeps explaining his why he's losing the fight to him as he's going down, because he's talking about how he used to fight street gangs for charity.
That's one of the Andre the Giant lines that I understood this time.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I've never understood that in the 15 years that I've been watching this movie.
He used to fight street gangs for charity, and so he's used to fighting like 13 people at once, and it's actually harder for him to fight only one person because the moves are different. and then Wesley chokes him out until he's unconscious, and he goes, just sleep well and dream of large women.
That's what I tell myself every time I go to bed.
Yeah, I feel like I should just start texting you every night, being like, "Sleep well and dream of large women."
So next is the scene with Wallace Shawn.
Yes,
The
the Battle of Wits.
Battle of Wits, where he has Buttercup blindfolded and he has a knife to her throat. I did think about it, and I was like, I think why Wesley decides to kill Fezzik,
You
or
mean
Vizzini.
Vizzini, yeah.
Vizzini, is because he's threatening to kill Buttercup.
Yes, yeah, because the other two guys have been sportsmanlike, right? Which is what Fezzik says, right? He's like, well, I want to fight you fair, and then there's a mutual respect between Inigo and Wesley, but then Vizzini is like being really rude and condescending, and also has Buttercup at knife point.
Mhm.
So Wesley's like, nah, this guy's got to go. Yeah. This scene is, I mean, what can you even say about it? It's one of the best scenes in a movie. I love all of this. I love the music here. I love Cary Elwes just kind of like smirking through this entire thing while Wallace Shawn is like motor mouthing. I
Yeah.
can clearly not choose the wine in front of me.
And while Wallace Shawn is explaining all of these different options about why, which wine was actually poisoned and stuff, it really sinks in just how clever the writing in this movie is.
Yeah.
And funny. It's such a this movie is sometimes classified as like a parody or a satire, but it
Yeah.
feels too earnest to just be a parody or a satire.
Right. It like is a satire, but it's also simultaneously the thing it is satirizing. Like it's doing both. It's both a swashbuckling adventure film and a satire of a swashbuckling adventure film simultaneously.
Yeah. And I think part of it is how it approaches the characters, and because we are dealing with archetypes, but giving those archetypes a few special things that make them stand out and giving them this great writing. And I think a lot of that is exemplified here in this scene.
Yeah.
Where like Wesley works so well as a swashbuckling hero type and a romantic lead, and also a more calculating, intelligent character.
Mhm.
And it is just like a mile a minute funny. It's clever and it's funny, and it also knows when it's okay to be stupid and silly and funny.
Iocane comes from Australia, which is entirely populated by criminals.
Therefore,
you must have known that I wouldn't trust you, or whatever he says. Yeah.
And then he follows those up with like, "Hey, look over there! What's that?" And switches the lines.
What in the world can that be? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the line. I knew the line. I just paraphrased it.
Sorry, I sometimes do the thing where someone paraphrases a line from a movie, and then I'm like, no, I'm gonna say the exact line. It's one of the things that my wife finds insufferable about me. Clearly not that insufferable, though. Insufferable. I keep using that word. I don't think it means what I do not think it means what you think it means.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's poisoned. He's poisoned both, and
it's so funny when Wallace Shawn
just freezes and falls over.
He laughs. He goes, ah, 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 and then just freezes on the laugh, and then just falls to the side. That is one of the most insane on-screen deaths of all time, and it's crazy that it works for the movie, where he just freezes and falls.
And Wesley's poisoned both of the wine glasses because he's built up an immunity to iocane powder slowly.
Really playing the long game.
And I really could have Googled this at any point in the last couple of decades, but I don't know, A, is iocane powder real? And B, can you develop an immunity to it by building up a tolerance over the years?
Let's find out. Is iocane powder?
Yes, my favorite part of the show, and I'm sure our listeners' favorite part of the show, where we Google something in real time.
Iocane is not real.
Okay.
It's made up for the movie. Yeah. Yeah, it's totally fictional. So I guess the fact that he can build up an immunity to it is acceptable as a plot device, considering it's just a made-up thing.
But I don't know if you could build up
much like Australia, not a real place. Don't know if people know this.
I've been there, actually.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Never mind. I forgot you had been to Australia. So you can attest that it's a real place.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he rescues Buttercup here. But she still thinks that, like, he's just another guy coming to kidnap her or whatever. So she's being really, like, obstinate.
Yeah, and this is when he's letting his little Dom side show.
Yeah, where she's like, she says, like, you know nothing of pain or whatever. And he's like, don't fucking cross that bridge with me, lady.
Yeah. Also, we should mention that at this point, Humperdinck has been tracking them, and we've had a few scenes cutting back to that.
Yes. It is always funny when we cut back to Chris Sarandon and he's like, yes, iocane powder. I'm sure of it.
There was a sword fight here. I can tell based on the footprints.
Someone has beaten a giant. And he's just looking at a flattened patch of grass. Yes. His thing is apparently that he hunts a lot. That's basically sort of the vibe we get from Prince Humperdinck. Like, there's some lines that allude to that, where she says, like, towards the end, she's like, you know, you can't track true love, not with 1,000 bloodhounds or whatever. So this guy just really loves taking the lives of, beings with souls. Which, he does seem to be like a sociopath of some kind, when we find out later in the movie that he's basically just marrying Robin Wright as a political maneuver to start a war, which is a crazy reason to marry Robin Wright.
Yeah.
I would simply marry Robin Wright because she seems like a lovely woman.
Also, I think Chris Sarandon is one of those guys in this movie that is walking a very fine tightrope and being like scummy and douchey, and you don't like him, while also being very charming and funny and fun and likable. Despite all of that,
He does the same thing in Fright Night. This is like
True.
This is a Chris Sarandon lane, right? He is just in this lane where he's like, I'm gonna be like kind of charismatic and charming, and you're kind of gonna love me, but also I'm gonna be like the scummiest little creep you've ever seen. You know?
Yeah. As opposed to Christopher Guest, who is playing this mustache twirling villain like as serious as a car accident.
Christopher Guest is fucking insane in this movie. He is like that is really the thing that watching this as an adult, the thing that stuck with me the most is I never appreciated Christopher Guest's performance enough, because he is like going sicko mode in this movie, but like low key.
Yeah.
Where he's just underplaying everything in a way that makes him seem fucking like violently insane.
And it's sort of wild seeing him in this, because my biggest point of reference for Christopher Guest is Rob Reiner's first film, This Is Spinal Tap.
Yes.
Where he's doing a comedic performance that's improvised, and he has a silly, fun, fake British rock star accent.
I learned something that I'm not sure if you know this or not, but in order for Christopher Guest to appear in this movie, he mandated to William Goldman and Rob Reiner that a Spinal Tap reference had to be made in the film. So when the torture machine goes to 50, that's because Christopher Guest was like, I need a joke in this movie that's a reference to Spinal Tap. Because it's like the amp going up to 11.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. He was like, we have to put in an in-joke to Spinal Tap or I won't be in your movie.
I was wondering, because Rob Reiner appears in Spinal Tap. I don't know if you've seen Spinal Tap.
I have, yeah.
Rob Reiner appears in Spinal Tap as like the fictional documentary filmmaker.
Yeah.
And he has, I think it's the USS Coral Sea, I'm pretty sure. He has a Navy hat on. And there's a Navy hat in Fred Savage's bedroom, but I don't know that it's ever close enough in the frame that I can tell what Navy hat it is. But this time I sort of looked at it and I was like, I wonder if that's a Spinal Tap
Maybe that's the
reference.
Spinal Tap reference. Because the thing that I knew is that Christopher Guest was like, you have to put in a Spinal Tap reference. So I don't know. Maybe it was the hat, not the going to 50 thing.
Yeah.
I always assumed it was the going to 50 thing. Not
Yeah.
to 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she pushes him down a hill, and we get to watch these stunt people roll down this fucking hill.
Yes, she gets pissed at him because he's being rude to her, and she chucks him down a hill, and he goes, "As you wish."
So, some of the wide shots of this hill and these stunt people going down it, I'm like, that's a fucking steep ass hill.
No, it's a legit stunt.
Wherever they shot this, like it is harrowing.
One of my favorites is when she then leaps off the hill after him because she's like, "Oh my sweet Wesley, what have I done?" As soon as she hears him,
Yeah.
and then it's just this Robin Wright stunt double rolling down this hill, going "oof, ow, oh, oh, oof" in ADR. It is so funny.
Yeah. It's even funnier that after this, when they land at the bottom of the hill and they realize, they rekindle their love, and Wesley says, "Death cannot stop true love." We have reached my third cry of the movie.
This is a good one.
And this is like full on tears.
Hell
Like
yeah,
I
dude.
am broke. I have been reduced to tears at this point by this scene.
Hell yeah, dude. This one didn't get me to cry, but I was really feeling this one. The line in this one that got me, which I'm like, props to you, respect to you for crying at this, is Cary Elwes says, "Can you move?" And she says, like Wesley, you're alive. If you want, I can fly.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God. I'm going to cry right now.
Yeah.
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 It's
I'm
so beautiful.
so lonely.
Maybe that's why I cried less at the Buttercup and Wesley stuff.
I sort of thought you would because
Well, I love my wife.
Because wife.
I love my wife, but at the same time, it's like, I'm like, yes, true love, which, as I know, is an empirical truth that I experience every day, not something that I'm like pining for.
Yeah,
you know?
but you are sort of a Wesley type in that
in that I love my wife.
you love your wife, and anytime your wife asks you to do something, you'll just
as you wish.
You'll just as you wish that shit.
That's right. I do think that I have an as you wish mindset. Maybe being raised on this movie is what made me a good husband, because it taught me that when like a lady I love tells me to do something, I'm just like, as you wish. Yeah, then they go into the fire swamp.
ROUSs? I don't think they exist.
Okay. Since we already mentioned it, there's stuff before the ROUS tackles him. That joke is one of my favorite jokes ever.
It's perfect timing. It's the music hitting. It would be funnier to me if they hadn't shown the ROUSs beforehand, where it's like Wesley's trying to play it off that like they're being surrounded by these guys.
Yeah.
These rodents.
Well, has he seen them? We've seen them, but I don't think it's clear that he's seen them.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like he's like trying to lead her through the fire swamp and calm her down.
Maybe.
And sees that they're there. But they are definitely like showing up in the background of shots and stuff.
But regardless.
Yeah,
I don't think they exist. And then the puppet getting launched at Cary Elwes with the hilarious sound effect is it sends me every time.
It made me realize what it might be like to be attacked by your dog Jill. Because she's sort of an ROUS.
The ROUSs are kind of Jill coded, yeah. In that they have like big chomping jaws. And they're kind of like as wide as they are tall, which Jill kind of is.
They're sort of like a barrel, like a big furry barrel.
That my dog Jill is like a big furry barrel. And she is very aggressive to strangers, which is always nice for me to know. Anytime I go to bed at night, I'm like, if a burglar tries to break in, they're not going to get far.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Because she'll take them out.
Yeah. This set is also
a burglar will walk into my house and it'll be like, bah!
This set is also it looks like fucking Dagobah, The Empire Strikes Back. It's so good.
This set it's incredible. The pyrotechnics in this scene. This was the first scene of the movie they shot, by the way, was the fire swamp, which is also feels crazy to me that it was like, okay, day one, we're starting shooting on The Princess Bride. All right, Cary and Robin Wright, you're going to be dodging fire. But the sound design here with the like pops before the fire comes out is so good. The pyrotechnics here are so fun. All of the shots where like Robin Wright is standing exactly where the fire is about to erupt, and then Cary always picks her up and moves her, and then the fire shoots out like a second later. It's like, it's so good.
Yeah, the pit of, I guess they call it the lightning. Is it lightning
sand? Yeah,
like their version of quicksand. That pit that they built into the set looks great. The classic 80s fantasy, we're in the woods, unmotivated lighting of the sun like streaming through the trees, but the set still looks dark and evil and oppressive.
Yep. There's all these vines that Wesley is cutting out of the way with his rapier as they're going. There is so much detail and craft and love put into like every element of this movie. And it's like the fire swamp set is just a great example of that, where it's like so many people had to work so hard to make this happen, and it's like you can feel the passion and the hard work and like the blood, sweat, and tears like through your screen,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, the guy who played the ROUS, E.T. put some truly indispensable research. Like, we cannot pass this scene without letting you guys know what E.T. found out about the guy who plays the ROUS, whose name is Danny Blackner. He's 4 foot 1 inch tall, often a creature actor in films. He was in like Star Wars as an Ewok. He was a goblin in Labyrinth. And on the day that they were filming the ROUS scene, He had been arrested the previous night. Arrested, and in ET's research it says parentheses alcohol related and parentheses. He had been arrested and held at a police station the night before the scene. So then he missed his call when they were shooting this scene, and everyone was like, "We can't find Danny. Where's Danny?" So they were like, "Okay, we'll just go with a full puppet version of the ROUS," and apparently it looked like shit. So they were still like, where the fuck is Danny? We need him to film this. And eventually, Danny Blackner managed to get word to the production team that he was in jail. Presumably, he used his one phone call to call Rob Reiner and be like, "Rob, I'm in the drunk tank. You have to come bail me out." And so then they went and bailed out Danny Blackner from jail so that he could come to set. And he went straight from like the drunk tank to set, and they like sewed him into this 50-pound animatronic suit so that he could film this scene. Which, like, if that's not fucking dedication, I don't know what is. Also, like, we used to fucking make movies, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, we used to make goddamn movies in this country where, like, a guy would be in the drunk tank and you'd be like, "No, we need that guy on set so we can sew him into a rat suit. We cannot do this with CGI."
Yeah, and you watch the movie and it is clear, like, oh, that is just a guy on all fours in costume. And it's
not only a guy on all fours, but a guy on all fours who's hungover and just got out of jail.
That's a long fucking day on set. Yeah.
Maybe that's why the rat's walking like that. Maybe it's not the suit, where it's kind of like a little unsteady. That's just Danny in there being like, "Whoo, the Jameson's still kind of hitting me from last night." Yeah, I love the fight with the ROUS.
Yeah.
It is very funny, and I think the movie plays it as a joke that for most of the fight, Buttercup is just kind of standing there. Like, Wesley is like wrestling this enormous rodent that's like as big as he is. And Buttercup's kind of standing to the side being like, "Should I pick up this big stick? I'll try whacking it with the stick. Ew, it's gross. I don't want to get close to it." Wesley, do you need help? What should I do?
I do love Wesley giving that RUS just the fire directly to the face in the fire swamp. That's pretty rad.
I also love the RUS's noises. When it gets lit on fire, it's like, "Oh!" and then he stabs it, and the stabs to the ROUS are punctuated with the score. There's like a musical sting every time he stabs the rat. And also, there's also, like, the rat makes a noise. So it's like three noises on top of each other. It's like the sound of the stab, the musical sting, and the rat's reaction. And it makes it, like, needlessly the most dramatic moment. And I love it so much. Like, this is where, like, the camp really shines through. Where it's like, not only are we killing this rat, we are killing this rat in the most extra way imaginable. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I love the fire swamp.
Yeah, fire swamp's good. I was playing Fallout New Vegas, and there's a perk you can select at the beginning called Wild Wasteland, and it changes some of the things in the game, makes some things like, gives you access to some unique items and some things that are weirder, but it adds references throughout the game, so you can find, like, a skeleton with a fedora and a refrigerator.
Oh,
that's
like
a reference
Indiana
to
Jones,
Indiana Jones. There are giant rats in the game. And you go into a cave, and the ones in that cave are called ROUSs, and they're bigger and more aggressive than the regular giant rats in the game.
Rodents of unusual size, just in and of itself, and that's I'm pretty sure from the book. Rodents of unusual size is just a very funny joke in and of itself. Like that, they're called that. Then they get out of the fire swamp, and Humperdinck has caught up to them. Because he, like, tracked them into the fire swamp and then just, like, went around and, like, catches them while they come out. And so, like, Humperdinck and his guys are like, "Oh, great, we found Buttercup. We'll take her away from this, like, pirate guy." And Buttercup is like, "The only way I'm going back with you is if you promise that this man will be safe." Because she doesn't want to go back with Humperdinck, but they were also she sees that they're going to kill Wesley they don't go with, if she doesn't go with them, right? So she saves him here. And then, like, Humperdinck is immediately like, well, yeah, oh, yeah, I'll send him back to his pirate ship. And he's like, actually, take him to the torture dungeon. The Pit of Despair.
The Pit of Despair.
The Pit of Despair. Don't even think about trying to escape.
Well, and it's also revealed here that Count Rugen, who's, Humperdinck's number 2, has 6 fingers on his right hand.
Yes. This is Christopher Guest.
Yeah, Christopher Guest.
Yes.
And Wesley's like, someone was looking for you.
And then they knock him out, and apparently Cary Elwes was actually knocked unconscious. There was an accident with the way that they did this stunt.
That's the take that's in the film, yeah.
The take that's in the film is Cary Elwes actually being knocked unconscious by getting a sword to the head, and then he like had to like go to the hospital and get multiple stitches in his scalp. And that's the take that you get in the movie. Yeah, so he gets taken to the Pit of Despair. The Pit of Despair stuff is also some of my favorite stuff in the movie.
Yeah, it's quite metal. It is sort of metal.
In no small part because of the albino. And you know what, David? Something just slid across my desk.
God damn it.
It's time for a Disgusting Shit Person News Bulletin. Much like other like fantasy films that we've talked about on this podcast, Willow and some sci-fi stuff like Mad Max Fury Road, lots of disgusting shit people in this movie.
Sure, it's sort of part of the course for fantasy movies that at some point you're going to find someone who looks diseased and rotting.
Yes.
And it smells like shit and is covered in rags, and there's a few of those in this movie.
Yes, and I will say honorable mention for disgusting shit person in this movie goes to the lady in Buttercup's dream who is booing her, the Queen of Slime, the Queen of Filth.
Yeah.
Perhaps more of a disgusting shit person, but the reason I'm giving it to the albino is because it's not clear that woman actually exists in the canon of the story. She's a dream.
I would say
Buttercup
that like
has.
Miracle Max and Valerie.
Yes.
Also, but they're like good characters and we like them.
Yes. I feel like they're also too Jewish for a couple of goys to start labeling disgusting shit people.
That's true.
I don't think we want to tread into that territory.
Yeah.
Whereas the guy in the Pit of Despair, he is albino, but that's not why he's a disgusting shit person. He's a disgusting shit person because of all of the rest of the way he looks. He's got this big old scab on his mouth.
He's got like fucking herpes or some shit.
It's really gross. And then he's also just like, his general demeanor is just like, this is like the Igor of Count Rugen, right? Who is basically, he's writing a book on pain. This guy is like sadist extraordinaire, and the albino is like his lackey, right? And it's like, if you're the lackey of the guy who's writing a book on human suffering, you have to be some kind of despicable little worm,
The voice change is funny too because he's
so
sort of
funny.
He seems like an Igor type at first, and then it's sort of like he's just a guy who works here and sort of into. He's like, yeah, you're gonna be tortured.
Yeah, I love when Wesley's like, it's torture then, and he nods and he looks all excited, and then Wesley's like, I can deal with torture, and then he shakes his head, and this actor's facial performance is incredible because when Wesley's like, oh, I can handle torture, and this guy shakes his head, his jowls and cheeks just flap while he's shaking his head in the most like delightful way. In a way that's truly repulsive, but also marvelous for this character. It's awesome. I love this guy.
Yeah, he's great. Wish there was more of him.
Yeah,
he sort of gets his moment to shine here when Wesley's first brought down there.
Yeah.
To the Pit of Despair.
Yes, and we get a little bit with him later when Inigo and Fezzik are interrogating him, and then Fezzik jogs his memory too hard and knocks him out.
Yeah.
Anyway, this has been a Disgusting Shit Person News Bulletin. Yeah, the Pit of Despair. The Pit of Despair strikes we've been talking a lot about like the magic trick of this movie where it's like a satire of a swashbuckling adventure movie, but it also is a swashbuckling adventure movie. The Pit of Despair also is two things. It is simultaneously very funny. Like some of the funniest jokes in the entire movie are Pit of Despair stuff. And also like kind of harrowing.
Yeah, like when Wesley's being tortured, it's I think some of the dialogue here is funny where Christopher Guest is like, be honest.
This is for posterity.
Yeah. But it's played
in your own words,
it's
please.
played very seriously, and Cary Elwes' performance is like you said, like harrowing and serious. And it's sort of nuts that like in this children's movie, our protagonist gets tortured for the entire second act.
Tortured to death, more or less.
Almost dead.
Not almost. There's a big difference between mostly dead and all dead. Yeah. Yes. And even the first time that they do when they do take it to 1 or whatever, I remember as a kid this freaking me out a little bit. Watching it as an adult, mostly what stuck with me about them taking it to 1 is the moment afterwards when Christopher Guest is like, describe how that felt. And Cary always goes, and Christopher Guest goes, fascinating.
I've just taken 1 year from your life. And that happens every time I eat a hot dog, apparently.
Hey, it feels a lot better than the machine.
Yeah,
I'll take a fucking Maverick dog over the machine any day, dog. At least I'm enjoying having a year shaved off my life.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. While this is happening, we get some stuff with Humperdinck where he's like, clear out the thieves' forest, because he's setting up his whole warmongering plot, where basically he's gonna blame Gilder for Buttercup's death because he's planning on murdering her himself. So he's like, clear out the thieves' forest. He's making it like look good that he was like taking precautions beforehand or whatever.
Yeah, the Brute Squad.
The Brute Squad.
I'm on the Brute Squad.
You are the Brute Squad. Yes. So then we get some stuff with Thieves Forest getting cleared out. I do like the gatekeeper guy who the captain of the guard or whatever for Humperdinck.
Yeah,
that guy who he's giving the instructions to clear out Thieves Forest, and he's like, I don't think the thieves will take it very well, or whatever he says. And that guy comes back later in a big way.
You mean this cake?
Yeah, yes,
that guy.
You mean this cake key? Yes, that guy who looks like he's like a fucking Civil War general.
Yeah, he's rocking a great set of chops. Looks like a guy who's just designed to be in historical movies or medieval movies.
I love that guy. He is a great like light spice that's used a couple times in this movie, and both times he shows up, I'm like, fucking yes, absolutely, Captain of the Guard guy.
Yeah, he's one of the aspects of this movie that I always forget about.
Yes,
and surprises me when he comes back
on
screen. I'm like, oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
That's fun.
But anyway, so the Thieves' Forest is getting cleared out. This is where we catch back up with Inigo. I feel like I'm going to have a hard time articulating my thoughts on this, and like maybe I shouldn't even try. There is something about drunk Inigo Montoya when the Thieves' Forest is getting cleared out, and he's like they're like, oh, we're having some trouble with this one Spaniard, and then it cuts to Inigo, and he's just like laying against the side of a building with his sword, just like fucking blitzed out of his mind. That is like, it's funny, and also it's like weirdly profound to me, his performance in this scene. It's just the thing where I think he's taking this so seriously, right? And so it's like, this scene is supposed to be like a funny scene with Inigo. And it is. And at the same time, I'm watching Mandy Patinkin, and I'm like getting so much like from him in this scene where I'm like, I kind of can't only take this as a joke. And it feels like I am like so drawn into the world of this guy whose like whole world has been shattered, because the last time we saw him, he was like employed for Vicini. He was, revenge doesn't pay the bills. So
right.
Right. And then he got bested in a sword fight. He's like the best swordsman in the world, and somebody beat him. And he's like having like an identity crisis here. And this time watching it, I was like, this performance is really special, because even in this moment, which is kind of smaller for his character than all of the hello, my name is Inigo Montoya stuff, I am getting so much from him that I'm like, I'm so bought in to Inigo Montoya at this point that if you put a camera on him just doing this for like 20 continuous minutes, I would watch it. You know, it's I feel like I'm having a hard time putting it into words.
I get what you're saying. I didn't quite feel that way, but I can see how and why you would feel that way. I think there is something about the brief lines of dialogue we get from Vizzini at the beginning where, he when he found Indigo, he was so drunk he couldn't buy brandy.
Yeah.
Just seeing him and seeing him grow throughout those early scenes and how much we come to love him as a character by the time we do the sword fight. It hurts to see him fall back down the hill.
Yes.
Fall down back to where he started.
Right. There's like a profound tragedy in I am waiting for Vizzini.
And
You told me to come back to the beginning, so I have. I love it.
Yeah, and the funny thing about this movie is it's sort of wild that as in a kid's movie, there's a character who's like hell-bent on revenge and his whole arc centers around revenge. And even at the end of the movie, it's sort of like, yeah, it was a good thing that Inigo got revenge. Like it didn't destroy him. Like it was a good thing for him.
Yeah, sometimes the six-fingered man has to fucking die, dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no life lesson about how it's bad to take revenge.
No.
But there's a little
sometimes
bit
a guy who builds a torture machine deserves to die.
but there is a sadness here about him devoting his life to swordplay to avenge his father and his world sort of caving in on itself and him going back to the beginning.
Yeah. I love it. And I love Fezzik showing up here.
Yeah, it just immediately lightens the mood.
Yeah. Oh, it's you. Yeah. I love all this stuff. I love the guy who comes to clear him out, and even though he's fucking plastered, he still like outduels this guy. That's great too. But yeah, then Fezzik grabs him, and basically, and I also love Peter Falk's voiceover going, Fezzik took great care in reviving Inigo, and he's dunking him in the cotton cold water. And Inigo's like, that's enough!
Yeah, apparently Mandy Patinkin was like, Andre the Giant dunking your head in cold water really hurts.
I bet.
Like slamming into that water.
Yeah, fuck, dude. The velocity at which your head is hitting that water, considering the arm behind it is like more powerful than like industrial machinery. Yeah. And then so he decides that the only person who can help him avenge his father is the six-fingered, or avenge his father against the six-fingered man is the man in black. Yeah, he needs the man in black.
Yeah.
And so then like right around here is when the torture machine goes to 50, because Buttercup negs Humperdinck a bunch. She's like, "You're like a little slime ball, you fucking little, you little bitch," and he's like, "You know what? I'm gonna go take that out on your boyfriend."
Yeah, she basically negs him to the point where he storms out of the room, goes down to the pit of despair.
I would not say such things if I were you.
Yeah, goes down to the pit of despair and cranks it up to 50.
Yeah. And the sound design here as well on Wesley's scream is very good. It's just like it's like a bunch of layered screams on top of each other. They clearly like modulate some of them. It's like a noise that a human being could not possibly make, and it's great. It works totally for the moment in the movie. And I love all the shots of like all the people throughout the kingdom being like, "What the fuck is that shit?" And then Inigo is like, well, that's clearly the man in black, because, who else would be in that much pain right now? His true love's about to get married to somebody else. So then they like find the albino and bonk him on the head and rescue him from the pit of despair.
What's your cry count at for this movie?
So far, I am at 1.
You're at 1.
So far.
Okay.
You're at 3?
Yes. And I'm about to be at 4.
Fuck! I think I was too low.
The scene of...
Wow.
The shot of Mandy Patinkin holding his sword and the light behind him streaming through the trees. As he's like, I need my father to guide I need you to guide my sword.
Yeah.
And he's basically praying to his father.
Mm-hmm. I love the line where he says, I've failed you for 20 years. Yeah.
That had me crying. And then of course it's very funny when he's just walking around the forest blindly with the swords found in front of him.
Mm-hmm. But then it hits the tree and he thinks he failed for a second and leans on it, and then it just opens.
Yeah.
And I love that they don't comment on that. Like the door opens and they just go inside. You know, that's the end of the moment.
Yeah. So they rescue him, and he's, they think he's dead. So they bring him to Miracle Max.
Miracle Max.
Who
used to work for the king.
Yeah.
And then Prince Humperdinck fired him, presumably because in addition to being a murderer and a warmonger, Prince Humperdinck is also an anti-Semite. I just have to assume that's the reason why. Because we're a couple of goys here, like I said before. A couple of Gentiles. I sometimes feel watching this movie that I shouldn't be allowed to enjoy Billy Crystal and Carol Kane in this movie to the degree that I do. I feel like that should be reserved for, those of Jewish heritage. Because boy, oh boy, is this the most Jewish comedy performance ever. And I love it. And I love it as a goy. I can imagine, Rob Reiner, also Jewish. William Goldman, also Jewish.
Oh, okay.
Right? Billy Crystal and Carol Kane, the actors, also Jewish.
Sure.
So, this is a joke that, they're all having together.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not a couple of people outside of that community, hiring a couple of Jewish comedians and poking fun at them. It's like, no, this all came from people within the same, world of Jewish comedy. That being said, sometimes as a goy, I'm laughing at this and I'm like, am I allowed to be laughing this hard?
Yeah, I mean, Billy Crystal and Carol Kane are nigh unrecognizable in that makeup.
Yes,
but
yeah.
there is no mistaking Billy Crystal's voice. And I clocked that immediately when I, saw this in theater class all those years ago. I'm like, that's fucking Billy Crystal.
And
just showing up in this movie.
Billy Crystal and Carol Kane improvised a lot of this scene, and it shows in a good way. This is the exact moment in this movie where this level of satire and camp and levity is needed, and it gives it to you all at once in the best way. I love Miracle Max.
Yeah. I love the way he talks about the MLT.
Mutton, lettuce, and tomato.
Yeah,
tomatoes.
The mutton's nice and lean.
They're so perky. I love that.
I've never had mutton. I wonder what an MLT would taste like, but sounds very good.
I've had mutton. It's pretty good. It mostly tastes like lamb, but a little gamier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, it's just older sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the miracle pill with the chocolate coating looks really tasty too.
Yes, to make it go down easier.
Mm.
Yeah. I guess mini honorary would we eat this? We don't need to play the music, but
No,
we both
we don't
already
need
talked
to.
about the chocolate pill looks tasty.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. To blave. Yeah.
And I like the thing that turns him around to actually helping them is that he's gonna fuck over.
Yes.
They're gonna fuck over Humperdinck.
Humiliations galore. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, sign me up! Give me the 65." It's awesome.
And I love Mandy Patinkin's delivery of "This cause is noble, sir. His wife's crippled.
Yes.
His children starve, or
Yes.
whatever."
He's like, "Nah, you're a terrible liar." And then he says the thing about his dad, and he's like, "Your first lie was better." It's so good.
Yeah.
Oh God,
yeah.
I love it.
Really fucking funny scene.
And
It's so funny.
The prosthetics are also insane. They look
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah. They look like goblins.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
And I love when Carol Kane comes out too.
Liar!
That's just such a funny element to the scene that when we reveal her too.
Yes. And she's yelling Humperdinck at him. And he's
Yeah.
like, stop. It's awesome. This is maybe the scene in the movie that had me laughing the most. Laughs per minute.
Sure, I think
Miracle
it is,
Max, probably.
Yeah, it is one of the most comedic scenes in terms of the jokes per line.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah, it's a good scene.
Yeah. So they, they leave Miracle Max's, have fun storming the castle. And then they take Wesley. They take Wesley up to the wall.
You think they can do it? It'll take a miracle.
Bye. Yeah, they take Wesley up
now
to the...
I'm just doing it too.
Yeah, we're just doing lines from the movie. Oops. Sorry. We said we wouldn't, and now we are.
Yeah.
They take him up to the wall, and there's like the gate into the castle. And I love all the shit. They give Wesley the pill, and only his head can move.
Yeah, he's just flopping his head around.
It's so fun. Like, Cary Elwes' physical comedy in this scene is very impressive, where he's just like flopping his head all over the place. And I love when Andre the Giant is like grabs his head with one hand and is like turning it and making it nod and shit. Also, like, anytime he like moves something up, like when he moves his finger, Andre the Giant's like, "You just move your finger. That's really good." He moves something else. He's like, I think he moves his neck on his own.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Doesn't that make you happy?" It's awesome. So yeah, they're trying to figure out how to break into the castle.
Yeah.
I also like the thing where like when they're mentioning their assets, like Inigo is just like, "Well, you know, you have me and Fezzik or whatever," and then like Wesley's like, "If only we had a wheelbarrow." And then he goes, well, yeah, there's that wheelbarrow that we got from the albino. And he's like, "Why didn't you mention that when I asked for our assets?" It's just a funny little joke.
And then he asks about a cloak, and then
A Holocaust cloak.
then Fezzik's like, "I got this cloak from Miracle Max's. He
Yes.
gave it to me."
Yes. Holocaust cloak, I was not really, like, I kind of forgot that that's what it was called. And then as soon as I heard it, I was like, "Oh, yeah. Oh." I guess Holocaust probably had another meaning in whatever the era this was supposed to be from.
Yeah, I mean it does. It is like it's related to fire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That
that's where it comes from.
That makes sad sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't know the exact definition, but it is
fire related.
It was a term prior to the actual Holocaust.
Got it.
Sounds like a pretty fucking great black metal band.
Holocaust
eh?
cloak.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you'd have to research those guys.
You got to be real careful about those guys.
If you found a band named Holocaust Cloak and it was like a black metal band, you'd have to be like Holocaust Cloak NSBM in Google. Holocaust Cloak sketch. And then there would be a Reddit thread with a bunch of people arguing about whether they were problematic.
Yeah, the lead singer would probably say something like, "We're not political.
Yeah.
Black metal is not political. Fuck you."
And some people on Reddit would be like, "That means he's a Nazi." And other people would be like, "Actually, no." And then you would find out that like they played at a festival that was organized by Nazis, and you'd be like, "All right,
Yeah,
I can't
you know,
listen to Holocaust
They
Cloak."
went on tour with Inquisition or something.
Yeah.
One of the guys is in a Burzum shirt.
Yeah. There's just the joys of being a metal fan, right? You gotta research the politics of all of the new bands that you discover to make sure that they're not actual hate groups. Great genre. No problems whatsoever in the scene. Yeah, so they get all the wheelbarrow and the cloak and everything. And then so like then we cut to the wedding.
Yeah, there's lots of back and forth cutting here where like we're leading up to the wedding and Buttercup's threatening to kill herself and also insisting that Wesley's gonna save her.
Yeah.
The notable scene here is that somewhere in here she's walking along with the king and the queen, and she's like, "You've always been so kind." She kisses him on the cheek and she goes, "You've always been so kind to me, but I'm going to kill myself on my wedding night." And then he just goes, "That's nice. She kissed me."
Yes. I love it. Yes. I love the moment where she vocalizes that she is about to attempt suicide to this guy. And he's like, "The pretty lady gave me a kiss on the cheek." This old senile fuck.
and Chris Sarandon, Prince Humperdinck, has been keeping up the lie that like he sent his ships to
look for Wesley.
To look for Wesley's ship.
Yeah, but then the jig is up. Like Buttercup calls his bluff before the wedding, and he's just like, "Well, I'm gonna force you to marry me anyway." So she knows at that point that like he never set the ships to look for him,
right?
Which is why she's gonna kill herself. And we have the awesome scene where they wheel Andre the Giant up to the gates in the cloak and light him on fire. And it's all of the, I am the Dread Pirate Roberts. This shit made such an impression on my young brain. Like, every visual in this scene, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that, of course, because I saw it on the back of my eyelids every night when I went to sleep for 10 years. It's, and not in like an it scared me way, just in I thought this was the most awesome shit I had ever seen way, right? Where it's just like this big flaming figure, and then the close-ups of Andre the Giant in the hood, and like when it's the close-up of him in the hood with the fire and shit, it's so good.
Yeah, it's a really powerful image.
Yeah.
And even just cutting back between this, like the cloak on fire, and you can tell that it's just a prop, and then the close-ups on,
Right.
on Andre the Giant.
It doesn't matter that it's just a prop, though. Like, when
Yeah.
you can see the seams in this movie, I feel like it's like Peter Falk is reading us a book right now. You know?
It adds to the charm.
Yeah.
And yes, like a lot of our favorite movies from this era, some of the seams and the jankiness to the effects are part of the charm.
Yeah.
And often they just look great anyway. Like,
Yes.
even with those things. And I can imagine seeing if you were a medieval soldier and you saw like a 7-foot giant guy in a cloak being set on fire wheeled towards you,
And
it
then
would
that
scare
guy
the
was like,
fuck out
I
of you.
am here for your soul. I would run the fuck away.
That's like that should be a sample in a metal song.
The Dread Pirate Roberts. Yeah.
I'm here for your soul.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and then the gate key joke happens, which we already talked about, which is really funny. I also like when Fezzik lifts up the portcullis. That's also definitely how I learned the word portcullis.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then so they bust into the castle. Buttercup has already been quote unquote married to Humperdinck. The wedding ends because Humperdinck makes the guy say man and wife. And so they bust in, and I love the scene in the hallway where like Fezzik is holding Wesley, and Inigo's in front, and Rugen comes around the corner with like 4 dudes, and they all run at Inigo, and he takes them out like super fluidly. Like the choreo there is really good.
Mhm.
And then Rugen is like about to fight him and just runs away.
Right. And Inigo chases him down the hallway, and he goes into a room and locks it. And then Inigo starts throwing himself the door to try to open it, and calls to Fezzik. And Fezzik has to, like, because Wesley's still, his legs don't work, so he's just dragging him along. And I love watching Under the Giant just drag Cary Elwes. He tries to like prop him up against the suit of armor, and then Fezzik goes to open the door and just opens it with one punch, and then gestures for Inigo to enter.
Yeah, and I even think Inigo gives him a thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the set too, because like the this like banquet hall that they do the fight in is so, it looks so good. It's so lavish.
Yeah.
There's so many great props here with like the table setting and the candles and the tapestries.
I was really noticing the pineapples this time. And
I didn't
and I
notice
was
that.
like, damn, they got pineapples in Florin?
Damn.
The trade to Florin must be in great shape if you're getting fresh pineapples there from the Caribbean.
That's cool. But I also love how that set sort of contrasts with the hallway, which looks a lot more like a set and is a lot cheesier.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But it's still fun.
Yeah.
Again, it's part of the charm of the movie.
And in the wedding scene, like the big like stained glass window behind them is like more extravagant and grandiose.
Yeah.
So it like also contrasts against like the hallways, which are like, yeah, that looks like something that you would see at like a Renaissance fair.
Right,
Like,
right.
Yeah.
So we have our duel between Rugen and Inigo Montoya.
Yes. Hello. His name is Inigo Montoya. You killed his father. Prepare to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get it.
That's the, this is, I feel like I've been very hyperbolic on this episode, as I often am about movies that I like a lot. Listeners expect that from me. This is one of my favorite scenes in a movie, in anything. I love this fight. We already talked about Mandy Patinkin's kind of personal investment in this fight, as an actor. kind of his angle on it. I love the moment of defeat when he gets the dagger thrown into him.
Yeah.
And then the score swelling when it comes out, and all the punctuation of the rapier blows with the score. As he's getting his strength back, he deflects one into his shoulder, he deflects one into his arm.
Yeah,
and he's like getting more strength.
And Rugen mocking him about you were that little Spaniard boy.
Yeah.
I remember you now, or whatever.
Yeah. And then the fight is good, and the end of this scene is like pure movie magic, because in a scene that also in a movie that also contains like Miracle Max and all that like wacky shenanigans, you also get like one of the most powerful and sincere and heartfelt conclusions to a character arc of all time, which is, I want my father back, you son of a bitch.
And I'm crying for the 5th time.
I'm crying too, David!
I'm crying for the 5th and final time.
I'm crying for the second and not final time.
Okay.
Yes. I want my father back, you son of a bitch, always gets me. Always. I think every time I've watched this movie in memory, I cry when he says that.
I think when I've seen it in the past, it sort of functions as like a, get away from her, you bitch line, where it's like, yeah, hell yeah, movies, man. And this time, like, the sadness of that moment really hit for me.
I was talking to my little brother about this moment that characters sometimes have in fiction, where it's like, it's common in the revenge story. Furiosa does this, where it's like the confrontation that the character has with the person who took their loved one away, right, often amounts to give them back to me, which is impossible, right? And it's like, I think the fact that shows up in stories that we tell so much tells us something about how we process grief, right? Because grief isn't about like, I think it's less about death and more about that person's absence, if that makes sense, right? Like, death, as in and of itself, isn't the enemy. The enemy is like, I don't get to spend time with this person anymore, and what you robbed me of wasn't like, I never thought this person wasn't going to die, Inigo never thought that his dad was going to just live forever. It's like, I had more time, and I think that there's just something about the way that stories that we tell come back to that, like, give them back thing with grief, that I feel like it just tells us something profound about ourselves, and I think this is one of the greatest ones that's ever done it.
Yeah. I think there's something about the way that people feel alive to us.
Yeah.
And there's a correlation here between, I think, moments where someone that has died still feels alive to you. My friend who passed away last year, it's been a year since she died, and she still feels alive to me in moments. And I sort of think that correlates with every time you put on a movie, those actors that died years ago and those characters that never existed feel alive to you.
Yeah.
And the emotion that Inigo Montoya feels in this moment, it doesn't feel fake or cheap or just a character.
Right. It's not get away from her, you bitch.
It's not just a little, like, a spot on a character's arc, check, like a character arc sheet or something. Like, it feels like a living, breathing person experiencing a powerful emotion.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just it's one of those things about the movie and the nature of storytelling that kind of like the whole point of the movie is sort of encapsulated in this little moment.
Yeah.
And even with how this movie plays with archetypes, it's cool that we get a secondary character having a climactic showdown with a villain and experiences this beautiful arc, and it closes out in such a dramatic action sequence. And then the protagonist of the movie also has a showdown with the villain, but it's in a much different way. It's
Right.
like Wesley doesn't get the big sword fight.
Yeah.
Inigo gets the big sword fight.
Yes, I love the subversion there too.
Yeah.
and like the subversion is like called out by Peter Falk, like we were talking about before, where it's like nobody gets Humperdinck, he lives. The villain doesn't get killed in this story, right? Because it's like sometimes the bad guy doesn't die.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
real life,
Because
right?
life isn't fair.
Or
Yeah.
whatever he says to little Fred Savage.
Yeah. God, it's so beautiful. It is so beautiful seeing Mandy Patinkin and Christopher Guest play this scene. And then we have the showdown with Wesley and Humperdinck. And so
There's a shortage of perfect breasts in the world. It'd be a shame to ruin yours. Top 5 lines of game all time.
it's a really good line. Yeah, so he's like Fezzik has like put him on the bed in her room. So he's immobile still. So he's just laying there. And I love her making out with him. And he goes gently, and she's like, "Oh, like a time like this, that's all you can think to say." And she picks up his head and his eyes get really wide and he goes, "Gently." And then she drops his head on the headboard. That's great. And then Humperdinck comes in, and Wesley is like, I can't move, so I'm just gonna play mind games with this motherfucker. And that's the whole like to the pain.
I'm
thing.
just going to describe how I'm going to physically and psychologically torture this guy.
Yeah, while calling him like a pig and a little worm and shit.
And it's fucking metal.
It
It's
rules.
so metal.
Yeah, he's gonna
He's just-
fucking cut his hands and feet off and blind him and cut out his tongue and shit.
Dear God, what is that thing?
Yes.
Great line delivery.
It's amazing. It's great. The close up of Cary Elwes delivering this is awesome.
Alternate ending of the movie where he actually does that. Just instantly take this thing to an R. Love to see it.
Cut back to Fred Savage being like, "Jesus Christ, Grandpa! That got really dark really fast."
Shut up, you pussy.
Grandpa, will you come back and read me Hellraiser next week? Or the Hellbound Heart, I guess.
Yeah,
is
yeah.
the book version. Yeah.
Yeah.
As you wish.
As you wish.
Yeah, so he psychs Humperdinck out here. The moment where he stands up and the drop your sword it's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. They tie him up.
I love Chris Sarandon
just-
scurrying over to this chair and sitting down like an obedient little bitch.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's really funny. And then they tie him to the chair, yeah.
Mhm.
And then Fezzik is outside, and he found 4 white horses. And Inigo says, "Fezzik, you did something right. And I am crying for the 3rd time."
Aw.
Yeah.
That didn't hit for me because I was like, I don't feel like Fezzik has really been set up to be an unintelligent, like, incompetent character.
I think it was more Inigo's, like, it was more Mandy Patinkin's delivery of it,
Yeah.
where he's like, "Good job, man." And I was like, man, having male friends is so beautiful. Male friendship is so beautiful. And I was crying. I was moved by the power of male friendship
That's good.
between Fezzik and Inigo.
I wouldn't know what that's like.
Hey, what the fuck? Fuck me, I guess. I'll suck those tears back into my face.
Yeah, I'm just. I don't know why I'm here every week, but I am. I would say it's for the money, but we're not making money on this show.
I'm sorry. I'm too emotionally vulnerable. I cannot take this
You
from you right now. I need you to be nicer to me.
All right.
Yeah.
I like the shots of Robin Wright just like falling gracefully through the air.
Yeah, how can you not?
Really,
It's
really
gorgeous.
beautiful stuff.
It's gorgeous. Yeah. The music's beautiful here. They ride off on 4 white horses. Oh, and Inigo says, like, "I spent my whole life on revenge. I don't know what to do now."
Yeah.
And Wesley says, "Have you ever considered piracy?" Because we didn't even fucking talk
We
about
need
the
to talk
Dread
about
Pirate Robert
robbers.
things.
It's so. I mean, this. Yeah. It's
God
so
damn it! We got to
cool.
the end of the movie, and we have to talk about the Dread Pirate Roberts thing, because the whole thing is like the title is passed from person to person.
Yeah.
Like the person that he that was Dread Pirate Roberts when he captured Wesley wasn't the real Dread Pirate Roberts. He inherited the title from another guy who inherited it from another guy, right? And the way he tells that story is, again, some of my favorite shit in the movie.
Yeah, it's just it's such a cool element of a movie about storytelling that there's a story within the story.
Also,
within the story.
Also, I love that the
that's-
Dread Pirate Roberts is just like a title like the Pope. Like, it's just...
Yeah. Yeah.
And all the shit with like, good night, Wesley, sleep well, I'll most likely kill you in the morning. Like, some of my favorite jokes are also in there. It's just like, oh, it's so good. And he's explaining that all to her in the fire swamp,
Mhm.
which is also great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so good. But yeah, so he's going to pass the title on to Inigo.
Mhm.
And yeah, then they ride away on 4 horses, and Peter Falk closes the book.
Because they get to the kiss at the end.
Oh, yeah.
And Fred Savage is finally like, no, I you can read the kissing part.
Yeah.
I do think the very, very end is like, I could have used a little more, where it's sort of just explained in voiceover, where Peter Falk is like, in the history of the kiss, there have been 5 like all-time great kisses. This one left them all in the dust and closes the book, and it's really brief.
Yeah.
I would have loved like a slightly longer scene that
Sure.
ends with Wesley and Buttercup. But,
Sure, yeah. I think it also works. Though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
closes the book and asks if he can come back next week and read it again. He says, "As you wish," and then the
And I
credits roll.
And I love that as the last "As You Wish" from Peter Falk, because like what we learned at the beginning of the movie is that when Wesley was saying "As you wish," he was saying "I love you."
Yeah,
And the last thing is like the kid being like, "Grandpa, will you come read me that story again?" And the grandpa going, "As you wish," because he loves his grandson.
Yeah.
It's so sweet.
Mhm.
And then my love is like a storybook story,
So you've been singing that a lot since we announced that we're doing that.
but
this
it's
movie.
as real as the feelings I feel.
And I've been like, what the fuck is he singing? Like, I don't remember that song at all in the movie. It's the second song in the credits, and I just don't think I've ever watched the credits
I see. Clearly,
the
when I
whole
was
way through.
clearly when I was a kid, I watched all the way through the credits every time because I remember most of that song.
Because they do the montage of scenes from the movie
Yes.
over an instrumental, and then they do that song once it just fades to like the regular credits.
It's as real as the feelings I feel.
Yeah.
Good song.
That's The Princess Bride.
That is The Princess Bride.
Is this a perfect movie?
Yeah. Yes. For me. Is it a perfect movie for you?
I think so.
It's-
Even though I pointed out a couple flaws that I have with it, like nitpicks.
Yeah,
I
I also
sort
said Alien was a perfect movie, and I pointed out a couple flaws.
Yeah.
I think a perfect movie, as contradictory as it can seem, can have a couple flaws.
It can be perfect in its imperfections.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, we don't have to beat around the bush. Is it the greatest movie ever made, Justus?
Yes. This is not a surprise to anyone based on how effusively positive I've been about this film. This film is, rewatching it today, which I really needed because I was feeling kind of bad. And boy, do I feel better after watching The Princess Bride and talking to you about it. This is maybe one of the most important movies for me personally. Period. I kind of think like I wasn't joking when I said that like all of the seeds of the person that I am are in this movie. And I kind of think like my parents raising me on this movie is like a big reason why I am all of the ways that I am. And in addition to that, it is also one of the most entertaining pieces of art that I think has ever been made in this medium. And it's beautiful and it's wonderful, and everything from the music to the costume design to the writing of the script to the performances, the cinematography, it is all a cohesive work of a labor of love, you know, by many, many artists who cared greatly about the story they were telling. And you know, I kind of think that's what like it's all about. I kind of think that's what living on this planet is about, is like being a part of a piece of art like this, either as an artist or as someone who enjoys it as an audience member. Like, it's like, I kind of think The Princess Bride is the meaning of life. Yeah, it's the greatest movie ever made. Also, True Love is real.
Yeah.
David, is The Princess Bride the greatest movie ever made?
Well, hold on. So your correct count was 3,
That's right.
and I guessed 3.
Yours was 5?
Mine was 5, and you guessed 4.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, Justice. It's the greatest movie ever made.
Yeah.
I've always loved this movie, but I don't think it really sank in until this watch. Just how special this movie is and how much it means to me. And I finally raised like it's been a 4.5 for a while, and I think I'm finally just like, fuck it, it's The Princess Bride. Like, it's a 5 out of 5 movie.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I think there is so much passion and love on screen in this movie at any given moment. It is so funny. It is so fucking funny.
It's really funny.
It's one of the best comedies ever. It's one of the best fantasy films. It's one of the best romances ever. And it's all down to the writing, the characters, the incredible performances across the board, the strong direction by Rob Reiner. It's just like a perfect storm of a movie. It has something for everyone. And I love how it comments on how powerful stories are to us and what they mean to us. And sort of like you, I hit a couple low points in the last couple of weeks. And one thing that cheered me up was at the venue where we're doing our play that's running currently. It's an outdoor venue, and it's in nature. It's in nature. So I went to go sit on this little bench, and this little hummingbird came by to fuck the flowers with its face or whatever they do.
That's
to
what they're doing,
pollinate the flowers. And every time I've sat there in the subsequent showings of the play, performances of the play, it's come back. And I keep seeing a hummingbird there. And seeing that hummingbird just sort of like moved me to tears. And it was like, yeah, man, this is sort of what it's all about. Like, life is kind of a beautiful, wonderful thing. And it just raised my spirits. And I sort of felt the same way watching The Princess Bride, where it was just like, yeah, man, this is what life's about. It's about true love. It's about passion. It's about adventure. It's about friendship. And it sells that message in a way without a lick of irony.
Yes.
Without a lick of cheese, really. Like, it's campy, but it's never cheesy.
Yeah, there's no cynicism at all.
It's never overly saccharine. It is just pure and genuine and beautiful. And I think it's the greatest movie ever made.
Fuck yeah.
Never podcast with a Sicilian when death is on the line.
You fell into one of the classic blunders. Never get involved in a land war in Asia, current administration.
God.
Fucking A, dude. David, I have to ask you, what the fuck are we talking about next month? Because it is a theme month that we have coming up.
Right. Before we get to that, I just want to say thank you guys for listening.
Yeah.
Thank you to ET for our research. Please go out and support the show, spread the word, like us on social media, comment on our social media.
Yes, follow us on if you're following us on Instagram but not on TikTok, get over and follow us on TikTok. ET is posting great stuff over there.
Yeah, clips from the show and stuff that they've edited together. So yes, I have a theme month coming up. I got 4 movies on the slate, and I think you're going to be really interested and really excited.
Yes.
I'm definitely excited to talk about these. Sorry. I'm really excited to talk about these. Oh God!
I can't tell if you're peeking the mic as a joke or if you're actually dying over there.
I'm sorry. I gotta. What was I saying? I got a theme month.
You good?
I'm gonna
man?
talk about some.
Oh no! It's amazing. Uh-oh.
I live, you motherfuckers! Hello, Justus.
Hello?
It's me,
Sean Connery?
Sean Connery, you son of a bitch!
David just turned into Sean Connery in front of me?
He's in hell right now.
Did he take your place in hell?
Yes, he's being ass raped by the devil as we speak.
Mr. Connery, do you want to tell me what movie?
Shut up, bitch!
You really don't have to hit me like that. I'm not a woman.
Well, you certainly sound like a little bitch, Burkett.
Just to be clear, I don't condone hitting women. That's a joke about how Sean Connery likes to hit women.
You
Yes.
bet your ass I do.
Sorry, at your own pace, Mr. Connery, will you please fill us in on what we're going to be talking about on the show?
Yes. Whatever David had planned, I decided to throw it out the window. Because guess what, bitch? It's the summer of Sean.
All right. Summer of Sean. Whatever you say, sir.
Hunt for Red October.
I kind of liked when he slapped me.
James Bond. Ah, yes, they all do. Have you seen that interview clip with Barbara Walters where I talk about slapping a woman and she slaps me back? Yes.
I have
It
seen
was a
that.
total class act in life and in hell. So anyway, Hunt for Red October, James Bond, The Rock, Indiana Jones, and The Last Crusade are not movies that you'll be discussing in the upcoming month.
All right, I was going to ask which James Bond, but you've just taken all of them off the table. Yeah.
So the first movie...
You
the
were,
only...
of course, in multiple James
Yes,
Bonds.
yes. The first movie, the only thing stronger than one misogynist is two misogynists. So we're talking... Oh, you will be... Because I'm obviously just possessing David's corporal form at this moment.
You're not going to be on all of these episodes.
No, I got too much shit to do.
I was sort of thinking that, like, just David would be absent for the next month, and it would be me and Sean Connery. But no, we're not committing to the I would say committing to the bit, but this is all real and actually happening.
The only thing stronger than one misogynist is two misogynists. So we're talking about the film where I teamed up with Alfred Hitchcock. You're going to be watching Marnie.
Oh, I've never seen Marnie. That's his last film, right?
No, you
Oh.
dumb whore.
Sorry.
David hasn't seen it either. I have access to all his thoughts and memories. Do you know that he shit his pants in the 4th grade?
I did not know that. We haven't talked about that.
He was at the back of the field during lunch and just decided to shit his pants rather than going to the bathroom.
He decided to. He was just like, I think I'll shit my pants right now.
So first you'll be watching Marnie. Then next you'll be watching Zardoz, directed by John Borman.
Fuck yeah.
It's the movie where I wear that freaky little orange bikini thong thing.
Yeah,
and I
there's
got
like
a
a-
weird ponytail.
There's a big head and, like, fucking is outlawed.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I was high as balls during the making of that movie.
Yeah, blow probably at that point in your career.
Yes, I was
Yeah.
heavy into the blow.
Yeah.
Allegedly, I'm fictional Sean Connery. I actually lied when I said you wouldn't be talking about a James Bond movie. You'll be talking about the unofficial James Bond film
Oh, this one.
due to copyright issues that I'm sure you'll talk about when you actually talk about the movie. Never Say Never Again. It was the 70s or the 80s or something like that, and I wanted money. So I came back to play James Bond when I was like 50 or some shit. I was old as fuck. It's a remake of Thunderball.
Cool.
It's directed by Irvin Kershner.
I want to I want to just put on mic that for the listeners, I am laughing so hard because the way that the spirit of Sean Connery inhabiting David's body from hell is manipulating his face to get this immaculate Sean Connery impression out of him is pretty hysterical.
Shut the fuck up!
Yes, Daddy.
The final film that you'll be talking about is a sci-fi western called Outland, where I play a cop on the moon.
All right. I've never even
Directed-
heard of this one. I've heard of the other ones.
It's directed by Peter Hyams.
Okay.
So that's what you'll be doing for the summer of Sean.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
And you'll fucking enjoy it.
You know what? I think I will.
All right, Burkett. Have fun. I'm gonna go fuck your mother, then go back to hell. See you later, bitch! Since the invention of the bad Sean Connery impression, there have been 5 impressions that were rated the most obnoxious, the most annoying. This one left them all behind. The end. Now I think you ought to go to sleep.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So long.
Grandpa, maybe you could come over and play the podcast again to me tomorrow.
As you wish. Later,
Later, dipshits.